It's that time. The time is now. The place is now. The time is place. The place starts. Is place. Yes, it's time for a revolution, and that revolution starts with the RageSelect podcast. Tell people to listen to it. It'll change their lives, I said. And you said, I listen to your podcast, Jeff. I know it won't change anybody's life.
I never said for the better. I just said it would change it.
It'll get something. I'm not going to tell you what.
You'll just think about dong jokes more than you thought you were going to.
You'll be really hungry by the end. That's really all. You're not happy or sad. You're just hungry. So
you also have a strange urge to play Dark Souls.
That's right. That's right. Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast here on RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome back, Michael. You're back in the world.
Yes. I'm no longer dying.
Yes.
For the first time in the entire fucking year.
Since New Year's. You literally, we both got sick around New Year's, but you got the double, you got both barrels.
I got double whammied.
Yeah.
Like super hard. And I couldn't do anything for weeks.
That sounds awesome.
It sucked.
I'd love to not do anything for weeks.
Well, the version of not doing anything for weeks versus the actual version of it is not the same thing.
Yeah.
Because not doing anything also means not playing a game. Because you're so sick and you just can't focus.
No.
That's the problem.
Did you try to drink a lot of coffee? Try doing some meth? Try, Dayquil,
I did a lot of Dayquil. But even that just made me more loopy.
Yeah.
Like I was in the middle of work. I had to take work off early on one day because my boss was like, yeah, I started looking at your tickets and they just got progressively worse as you looked at them. So I need you to stop. I was like, that's fair.
Well, welcome back. You're back.
Yes.
You're back in the world.
I was supposed to be in a lot more videos, guys.
Yeah. It's true.
Things happened.
That's very true.
But
that's
sicknesses and other things.
The thing is that the first week, that was a mulligan. We were getting started. There wasn't anything out.
I will go with a mulligan.
This week, we got the Prince of Persia. We got Palworld. We got horror games. We got all kinds of crazy shit is going on.
Yes,
like
things are coming out.
Things are coming out. We actually even have news stories about things coming out. I know it's crazy because normally this show is just about like movies and television shows, but we're going to talk about video games this week.
That's exactly what it is.
So, speaking of movies and television shows, I meant to watch movies and or television shows, and I didn't. I finished watching all 12 seasons of Letterkenny, but I'm not putting that in the thumbnail a second time.
That's fair.
And then I got really obsessed with Sea of Stars last week, Michael. Like to the point where today I'm trying, like I'm at the last boss and I'm trying to 100% the game. Like I'm literally trying to do every single thing there is to do in the game. I'm down to like, there's a quiz master who asks you quiz questions and I don't want to like do it, so I just brought up all the answers and he'll ask and I'm just like, okay, false, and then like 5.
This reminds me of this fucking video where it's Batman versus the Riddler and he's like, wait, what did you say? Hold on. He's just like typing on his phone. Like, are you looking this up? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Like I was going online looking up the locations of a bunch of different stuff and doing stuff, but like that game's got it hooks into me real hard, and if I could just get 2 fucking hours to myself I could probably finish it, but
perhaps that'll never happen.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Quizmaster or whatever.
I finished. The problem with the Quizmaster is every quiz has the same like 12 questions. Like there's like a number of quizzes, right? There's like 10 quizzes and there's like a number of different questions. But then every time you go to him, he asks you, do you want the easy version or like the hard version? And the hard version has 2 more questions. And if you get any of them wrong, quiz is done. But they're the same questions.
Oh, okay.
So I've had to do every quiz twice with the cheat sheet answer.
Okay, I see.
And I'm just like, fuck. And then I found out that I got through the 8th quiz today, and I was like, hooray, I don't have to do this shit anymore. And then I looked at this IGN page I was using to cheat, and it was like, there are 10 of these, and the last 2 are in the final dungeon that you haven't walked into yet. And I was like, God, fucker!
You gotta find all the Riddler trophies, Jeff.
Son of a bitch. Anyway, that game rules. It's awesome. It's probably way up there on my like best games of last year list. In fact, that one was the one of the Game Awards that went up against like Dredge and like Dave the Diver and stuff like that, right? That game totally should have won over Dredge. Like, I played Dredge. Dredge is fine. I like Dredge well enough, but like...
That's a popularity contest for a lot of those.
That fucking game, man. Like, I want to make video essays about that game. I want to kickstart that guy's next game. I want to, like, take him out on a date and ask him how he makes such good games. Anyway... So yeah, that's what I've been doing. What about you? Have you in your loopiness? Have you watched anything? Have you read anything? Have you played anything interesting?
I've been keeping up with my comics because I already talked about Fortnite the last time we did one of these.
Yeah.
But I've been keeping up with my comics because it's the easiest thing to keep up with, even when I was sick. So I read the new Ultimate Spider-Man that started last week.
There's a new Ultimate Spider-Man?
Yeah, they Jonathan Hickman rebooted the Ultimate Universe, but in this strange twist.
Okay.
There's an evil Reed Richards from the original Ultimate Universe.
Right.
He took over another universe basically.
Yeah.
And he systematically stopped things from happening.
Okay.
And so one of the things he stopped was Peter Parker getting bit by the spider when he was 15.
Okay.
And so years later, some stuff happened where the new version of Tony Stark is now sending people the stuff that would make them superheroes again.
Okay.
But Peter Parker's now in his 30s, and he has a family and everything, but he's never been a superhero.
Uh-huh.
And so he randomly gets this message being like, hey, you were supposed to be a superhero, bro. Here's the spider to bite you.
Let the spider bite you.
Be a superhero now. And so the issue is about him being coming to terms with the fact that something has been taken from his life, because he's I feel like I've been missing something this whole time.
Yeah.
And it's this great beginning because there's only one issue out right now, but it feels great because it's the first time I've been super excited about Spider-Man in quite some time.
Okay.
Because Amazing Spider-Man has been such a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay, here's a Spider-Man who's literally closer to my age now.
Yeah.
And it's a new beginning, so people can just start from there and not have to worry about crazy continuity shit. So it's a great jumping on point for a lot of people.
All I can imagine about this, because the Marvel universe is a little bit more reasonable with getting powers, is somebody doing this in the DC universe where they're like, yeah, Bruce Wayne's a 30-year-old man and he fucking loves his parents. They're retired. They live in Boca Raton. So I'm going to come down there and shoot his parents in front of him so that it'll become a 30-year-old Batman. And fucking the Flash, he's been doing a medical examination. I'm just going to come tip a bunch of chemicals on him and hit him with lightning real fast to make him into the Flash.
The thing is, it's become a Twitter meme.
Uh-huh.
That's that exact thing where it's Tony Stark going in front of Frank Castle for no reason, shooting his family, or Frank Castle or him visiting Doctor Strange, breaking his hands and giving him a ticket to Nepal and walking away.
Right.
So it's just become a meme of what Tony Stark's up to. It's just him fucking up people's lives.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And
just throwing acid in Daredevil's eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Just walking in, just the funniest. It's just really funny. It's become this huge meme of just talking to Bruce Banner, being you need to stand in front of that bomb, bro.
No, that's what to say. He's like, oh, Mr. Stark, I've admired your work for years. Where are we? And he's like, don't worry about it. Okay, now get out. He's like, what? He just pulls a gun. He's like, get out of the fucking car. He just drives past a sign that says gamma ray test site. It's there you go, Bruce. You'll thank me later. Trust me.
It's been a great time. But I've also been reading Superman, of course, and they pull out a really old school villain called Terra Man. He's this cowboy dude.
He just rips paper.
No, it's more like Terra as in the ground, I guess.
Terra firma.
But he's literally just a cowboy.
Okay.
And so that's been a fun time. But everything, Spider-Man, Superman has been great so far.
Yeah.
Except for, Amazing Spider-Man has just been a massive pain in my ass.
Yeah, but you're a Spider-Man fan. This is like people that are fans of sports teams that haven't won in 30 years. You're a fan of Spider-Man. You're used to being let down every week when you're okay, let me get it. I don't know. Maybe. Nope. Okay. Still the same.
It's
all
exactly
right.
why Ultimate has been such a great breath of fresh
air.
I bought 4 copies of that thing.
Why?
Well, because because the cover is him swinging, but they made a set of variants of him in different outfits. And so I bought those. I bought the other 3 of those. There was way more variants, but I was these are the only ones that I want specifically.
You got the chromium holofoil limited edition.
I literally got out because at this point I was negative for COVID, if I remember correctly. And I just took a bunch of Dayquil, put on all my mask shit, and drove down the Austin Books and Comics and just plowed through their pile finding these variants. And this was at 11 o'clock. The moment they opened, I was I'm getting these fucking comics. Go fuck yourself, everybody. And so I'm going to hang them in my new home.
Yeah.
Because I forgot to mention that to people. Because I
wasn't sure whether you were going to tell people about that.
Well, I'm going to tell people now because that was the reason I did it, was because I wanted to hang them. So I now have a townhome.
Yep.
And so that's going to be one of the things I hang in there.
Welcome to the joys of homeownership.
Oh, the joys of it already have pain in my ass, but I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Because the difference is them being a pain in my ass is now my responsibility. Instead of me even having to call somebody be like, hey, I need you to send a guy. Now I can be like, now I can do it and be liable to myself. And I'm cool with that.
I think it's all fun and games until your entire HVAC system has to be replaced.
Yes, that's one of the only thing I'm mostly worried about.
Yeah.
And pipes, but luckily they figured
roof, foundation, black mold.
They fixed the roof at the moment because there's some of the shingles are busted. But they had enough hindsight to drip the faucets and everything during the
freeze time. Yeah.
I'm very grateful for the realtor for that because she was like super paranoid. She's like, I sold a house where the pipes burst and like half the value was gone, and I was like, what's happening?
Yep.
So yeah, she was very scared.
Yeah, we had the big freeze, but no precipitation, so it wasn't as bad.
That was great.
No power outages.
Nothing happened, and it was so nice because I was used to turning on the news and be like, well, 5 people died today from freezing to death. And now it's like, oh, nothing happened.
Yep.
Everybody just assaulted HEB for no reason this time.
Yeah.
But I would rather nothing have happened than anything had happened at all.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just very cold. That was super cold. That was pretty much it.
I couldn't clean my windshield because my windshield wiper fluid got frozen.
I think there's probably people that are like, I've been seeing people in the Discord being like, it's -10 here, and I'm like, it's like 12 here, but that's like colder than we ever have.
Yeah, that's not Texas weather. That's the thing.
Yeah,
we're not designed for that.
We don't expect that bullshit. I have so much cold weather gear now. I just got fucking Mortal Kombat ski masks in today.
Yeah, he looked like smoke, like straight up.
I'm gonna disappear. I'm gonna throw knives at people out on the street. Actually, it's too cold for that. I would, the knives are really cold in my hands.
I think smoke would literally freeze, like because you would turn into mist trying to teleport and just freeze midair.
Is that how Sub-Zero was born? Is smoke, and then he just breaks out and he's blue now? And
that would make sense. Yeah.
Well, speaking of dumb and wacky shit, we had a Microsoft Developer Direct today.
They did one last year like that too, right?
Yeah. This is
they announced Hi-Fi Rush during that one.
Oh, yeah. That was where that came from.
Yeah.
Nothing as exciting this week. I mean, there's one thing that's kind of exciting.
They call it Lo-Fi Rush now.
They really like shooting B-roll of developers, Microsoft does. They really like going to the developer studio and, like, walking around with people and, like, taking,
Well, they do that when they know they don't have anything to show.
Yeah. Well, they had a few things to show. There were 4 studios.
But also, we're also in a time where developers want to feel the love.
Yeah.
So I'm actually perfectly fine with it right now.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna try zipping through. I'm gonna try to keep. Last week, Bryce and I tried out a new 45 thing, and I'm gonna try to keep that going this week because
you gotta get those numbers up, Jeff.
More. Well, the podcast always goes over anyway.
I know,
and then it ends up being a huge 90-minute marathon in part 2. So embrace the destiny.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So the first thing was Obsidian. Showing off Avowed, their new RPG. I remember asking, is this just as the Outer Worlds is to Fallout? Is this like Avowed is to Skyrim? And the answer seems to be yes.
They're literally showing the Outer Worlds.
This takes place in the Pillars of Eternity universe, but I don't fucking know anything about that universe. And
I don't know either. We played it once, I think, for a dojo.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I remember about it.
90 minutes, right? Yeah. The thing is that this did a lot to show me that, okay, it's first person. You've got guns, melee, and magic. And you could do a lot with that. They just spoiler alert here at the beginning. They didn't tell anything about the story. They didn't talk about the story really at all. They just mainly showed off a couple of combat montages. And the thing is that none of this looks like we're watching it right now. None of these montages look bad at all.
They actually look kind of fun.
They look pretty fun. The thing is that they're just I don't have any context. It's just fighting lizard guys. And it's the fighting lizard guys part seems all right, but these days, in order for me to really get excited about fighting lizard guys, you got to explain to me why I'm fighting lizard guys.
It's the tricky thing about games is that it's one or the other. Sometimes it's like either I really like the gameplay, the story is just fucking nonsense, or the story is really good, but the gameplay is just a major pain in my ass.
And so I'm wondering, like, when they showed the Outer Worlds, yes. I said Wilds before. Outer Worlds. When they showed the Outer Worlds had so much of that anti-corporate, like, satire built into just the way the world looked, like with the moon face guy and stuff.
It was very obvious that you couldn't separate the two at all,
right?
Like showing gameplay, because everything, like you said, it's built into everything.
Yeah. Whereas this, it's like we're just looking at a very, like, you could tell me that this is Obsidian, and I'm like, well, I'm more excited knowing that it's Obsidian. Or you could have told me this is just like some Steam game that came out that everybody likes right now, and I'd be like, okay, that seems about right.
I literally wouldn't be surprised about either, yeah.
Because the stuff they're showing is all super basic, like...
it looks good, though.
It looks good. Yeah, it looks solid. Like, the engine and everything looks nice. You got some generic guys. They do show a really brief kind of like kind of an investigation, like going to a place and there's like a bunch of dead people, and you kind of get a story from this one guy about what happened. And he's like in a military squad, and then you find another guy, and you can like choose to believe him, or you can choose to attack him, or you can. I mean, obviously, Obsidian does all this morally gray writing stuff.
Yeah, they're really good about that sort of thing, and if as long as it's written well, that sort of thing can go a really long way.
Yeah. So that was about as close to any kind of story as I got, except it was there was like noun soup, and it was a very basic thing, right? It doesn't like say anything. Also, it should be noted that all of everything shown in this gameplay footage is either like outdoors in a kind of a rocky steppe-like environment. That's pretty much it. Like, they don't show cities, they don't show like forests, they don't show like magma. I mean, I think they show like some ice at some point. They show some dungeon stuff, but like it's not like a lot. There's not like a huge amount that I can glean context off of. It's like if you told me that this was the new Unreal 5 tech demo that you could download, I would believe you, to show off like the particles and lighting in the environment, stuff like that. So again, not saying it's like bad. I'm just saying that like there's not a lot of this. It's like a fried chicken where you bite into it, you're just like, oh, there really wasn't very much meat on them bones.
Yeah.
So
it turns out it was just bat.
Yeah.
Chicken of the cave, they say.
I was trying to, the whole time we were watching this, I was trying to think of like, what am I going to say about this? And it's like, well, I don't know.
Looks like a game.
It looks like a video game.
That's all I can say, to be honest.
Looks like a video game.
It looks like a decent video game.
Yep.
But until I get my hands on it, I have no idea.
Or just like, give me that sizzle trailer, right? Give me that story trailer. Like, give me that world overview trailer, or like 5 minutes of gameplay where they take a vertical slice that has like some dialogue and stuff. Because like they also put out this graphic of like this guy with all the different elements.
Tells me nothing.
But it's cool looking. Like,
that's cool, but it tells me nothing.
It's very cool looking. Like, I don't know. I want to know
if
more.
You would have told me that was just some like DeviantArt guy's art, I would have been like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say outside of that. It's now supposed to come out in the fall of this year. So, that was a thing.
Hopefully it'll keep its time frame.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. This is actually going to be a little bit, I don't know, maybe I should have.
Turns out you had a lot to say about a game that you didn't have anything to say about.
No, because then we moved on to Senua Saga, Senua Sacrifice 2. And I don't have a lot to say about this one either.
Oh, okay.
Like they show off a lot of it, and I think I don't know. Okay, did you play the first one of these, Michael?
No, I forgot it even existed until they announced the sequel.
Okay, I played the first one, and I liked it. Okay, but
that's why I was surprised they were even making another one, because it was a game that just went from one ear and out the other.
I mean, like I thought it was fine, but I think that there's like an audience that really, 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 really identified with that game. for whatever reason, because
they're all schizophrenic like she is.
or they're making, because they seem like they're making a huge fucking deal out of this second game.
That's the thing I was surprised by. They're like, isn't it a big deal they're making Hellblade 2? I'm like, I don't fucking Hellblade 1? I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, maybe it's just the fact that Microsoft is just like they're just jonesing for, like, they need something, like they have to put out some video games, for God's sake.
Like the way they talk about it, they want to make it seem like it's the return of like God of War,
right,
kind of thing. And you're just like, I don't know anything about this franchise to be excited about it, at all. And this is only the second one at all.
They talk a little bit about Senua's tracking like pirate group that was like often her people and is going to Greenland. The other thing is that the more I see of this game, the less, like, a lot of the gameplay, there's something about it that's kind of, I don't know if it's like the color palette or how saturated it is, or like the kind of grimy art style, where it's just it's somewhat off-putting in a way, or not, maybe not off-putting isn't the wrong thing. It's just, I guess I'm not seeing anything where I'm like, whoa, that's a lizard guy. Wow.
Because graphically, or actually not even graphically, visually, I think it looks great.
Yeah.
But every time they show gameplay about it, I'm like, what is this game even supposed to be?
Yeah.
Because they make it seem like a lot of walking simulator type things, but every now and then something attacks her.
Yeah.
And I still don't really understand how the game works. And it's just, I don't know. Like, every time they show it off, the more I'm just like, I don't really know what to think about you.
Maybe that's what
I really don't know what to say, if it'll do well or not, because I don't even know how big its audience is to begin with.
Right. Maybe that's what I'm missing about it, is that, like, maybe it's going to be more of a walking, because it was like it was a light action game. Like, it wasn't like super hard or super detailed.
Also, wasn't it like pretty short, the first one?
Yeah. It was in the 5-6 hour range, maybe.
Which is hella short.
Yeah.
Especially back then.
So yeah, I don't know. It looks like it looks like they pushed all their chips onto the table for this one, but like I'm just like, are you sure that this is what you want to do with your limited time?
Like I said, I think they just don't have anything to show off the way PlayStation does when something comes back.
Yeah.
And the things that they did have that ability with didn't go as far as they thought, like Gears of War 5 or
Starfield
or
Redfall,
Halo Infinite, or especially Redfall. But Redfall was a mistake to begin with.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, it's like the real world. There's just something about this. They also talked about the audio. They spent a long time with like, it's got this binaural audio that can kind of go around and simulate the voices whispering to Senua.
It feels like the way Avatar is, actually. This is a good way of me putting it.
Yeah.
The way Avatar the movie is, which is the idea that, like, technically and visually and all that stuff sounds really, really cool and impressive.
Yeah.
But I could give less of a shit about everything else around it.
Yeah.
I couldn't give less of a shit about anything before anybody fucking grammar attacks me.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's just something that I'm missing, because like there's some interesting and exciting stuff that's coming up, but like I get the feeling that, again, I think that this is kind of Microsoft trying to make mountains out of molehills.
Yeah,
like
100%. Or probably not even a molehill, like an anthill.
Yeah.
Look how big this game is going to be. It's like, man, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
May 21st, got a release date. Oh, shit. I forgot about something, Michael.
We'll see how it goes.
There was a secret fifth developer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Square Enix is here.
Oh, God.
Talk about the new Secret of Mana game that they're making.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I didn't know this. This isn't the thing. This is the first new installment for the Mana franchise. Like, started with Secret of Mana, and it's been through. I think we got like 2 or 3 of these in the United States.
Yeah.
There were 17 of these.
There's 17 of these
games. There
games.
were 17
and
fucking.
We got 2 of them.
Mana games. I don't know, because like there was also, because in the last few years they keep putting out like these weird remakes.
That explains a lot.
And you're just like, where the fuck? What is this game? Where did it fucking come from? Apparently, this is like a very well beloved. Like, it's got 30 years of game history. Like,
this keeps happening for random games. Here's the thing: is I'm amazed this is still happening.
Yeah,
because Dragon Quest was like that too for a bit, but eventually a lot of those came out here.
Right.
But apparently, there's still plenty of franchises that we have no fucking idea about.
Yeah, they never got localized, and apparently they're very popular and whatever. So yeah, this is like Secret of Mana, but it's like seems like a kind of generic 3D action game. Like, so cool.
Square, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Why don't you give us all your cool shit?
And then they got this like Matrix Grandpa comes in for a little while. He's the guy that's been drawing the enemies in this game for 30 years.
The creator, Koichi Isha.
Yep. And he comes out wearing this like leather trench coat with a pop
He
collar.
looks like a Yakuza character, actually.
He does. Like, but then he starts talking about how, like, he says the word kawaii a whole bunch of times because he's talking about making the different enemies. He talks about translating the
Bunch
enemies
of adorable characters, yeah.
from 2D to 3D, and it's just like seeing this weird Matrix Grandpa out here talking about his little slime bunnies and like weird. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just weird.
I kind of love him. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of love how insane that whole thing is.
Yeah. Because it's funny because I remember playing Secret of Mana on the super fucking Nintendo and seeing those little slime bunnies. Like, those were the first enemies in the game. So,
yeah, because I played it, a lot of us played it back then for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then we just assumed they never made any ever again.
right.
Not knowing that apparently they just kept going.
They just kept doing it. So the thing is that I have there was a dojo that came out actually today, I think, where Blake and I were talking about how I feel like the day that we live in video games, like, companies are willing to put a lot more resources into appealing to a small niche audience, and that is the reason that this is getting made, because for God's sake, it's not like the West is going to be out there going crazy and lining up at midnight to buy the new X of Mana game. Like,
well, here's the thing that a lot of people in America don't seem to understand is that the world doesn't revolve around us.
True.
Because when they announced Dragon Ball, the new one, Daima,
oh yeah,
everyone's just like, why are there kids? We're all us Americans want all this cool shit. And they're like, again, he doesn't give a fuck about you guys. He's making it for himself and his Japanese audience. We just happen to give them money.
They made a new thing. It's like a dog that you can ride, but it's also like a dog pangolin wolf motherfucker.
He looks almost like a pinata. The way his like shape is.
I can see it. It's because of the way that it's all segmented off. Yeah. I mean, that seems cool and everything. Called a Pikul. So, and then talk about the music and fucking they talk about the 100 different music pieces from this game over the fucking 30 years of this video game. Like,
I know I give Square a lot of shit, but I'm happy that they're still willing to make their RPG stuff.
Dude, when that Square Enix logo came onto the screen, I was like, please don't be Foamstars. Please don't be Foamstars.
I was worried it was going to be that
don't be Foamstars.
NFT game that they were trying to make. I don't know if they're still doing that or not.
I don't think they're still doing that because now it's AI, baby. Last week they were like, we're into AI now. They're like a fucking toddler. They are always into whatever's like a TikTok teen.
That was last week. We're into AI now.
Yeah. So yeah, but then when they show the game, it's like, yeah, that looks competent and everything, but I can hand you like 30 games that look exactly fucking like this, like 20 of which you made, Square Enix.
It's true, but again, like you said, they're making it for that very specific audience.
Yeah,
who gives them money.
And I have a feeling that with modern production techniques, it probably doesn't take a very large team to make something like this anymore.
No, but as long as the designs and everything are made with love, the game tends to shine either way.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
because I think it looks great art style wise.
Yeah, looks fine. Looks like the remakes that they made, except a little better. But
yeah, there's some more love behind this than some of the other ones they've done.
Yep. So yeah, that's coming out summer of this year. Boom, bada bing, bang, boom. From there, we went over to Oxide Studios. I don't know if you remembered this. I don't even fucking remember what the name of this fucking game is. I'm going to turn on closed captioning. Maybe the guy will say it. This is that Civ game that they're making.
Oh, okay. I don't remember the name of it either. But I remember when they announced it, everyone was because the trailer looked really cool.
Aura, History Untold.
And then when they were like, oh, it's just like a Civ game, we're like, well, I guess.
Yeah. I tried to watch this and my brain kept saying, why? Why are you doing this?
There's a niche audience for this. So
no.
This is for them.
Me, Jeff.
Oh, why are you doing it?
My brain was like,
no, yeah.
Stop it. You don't play these games. They don't make good dojos, and you don't play them because if you, God forbid, if you actually get into one of these games, it'll eat your fucking life.
Just talking about walking around with instruments.
Bassoon or something. Anyway, yeah, it's just civilization, man.
That's all it is.
It's like it's
New name.
not that different than Civilization. Like you're building things. The only thing that I like is that apparently they've got like an ecosystem, they said, where like animals will be generated and come into the land and will interfere with you. And apparently like early on they had a problem where cougars like packs of cougars would just keep like ravaging settlements, and people in the forums were like, these fucking cougars won't leave me alone.
Just like Red Dead.
And like, but then look at this panel. Mech warrior, like if you could build fucking Civilization Gundams, apparently.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I get the audiences who really like this, but it was never for me. So
yeah.
they're really just trying to capture that audience because they only make so many of those types of games nowadays.
Yeah.
So
yeah, make
more for them, I guess.
Yeah, make one. Maybe see if you. The last one I think was that. Was it like Mankind by Sega?
Yeah,
that they put out.
I don't think it did super well, if I remember.
So yeah,
a lot of Sega games don't do super well. I'm not saying that Sega makes bad games, just that the Sega name doesn't go the way it used to.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, there was. Okay, let's just, and that's coming out in the fall. All right. And how about the thing that everybody actually wants to see?
Yes, the only thing anybody like me will give a shit about.
Yep. The funny thing is because Machine Games is like Swedish or something like that. You get a lot in this presentation. You get a lot of people say, you get a lot of switching between Indiana Jones and Indiana Jones. And whenever they say Indiana Jones, I'm like, that's what the bad guy would say.
Turns out the bad guys make games now. I'm just kidding.
The bad guy was
They're just Swedish.
Yeah, I'm not.
They're Ikeas.
I'm not. Although I will say that like this guy, like their director, who showed up to this photo shoot in like a t-shirt, a hoodie, unshaven.
Okay.
Like
the pause that you did is so perfect.
Yeah,
because he looks super unhinged.
You know
in
what?
that exact moment.
He kind of looks like Barry. He kind of looks like Barry from the worst
like
parts
later,
of Barry.
Yeah, he looks like season 3, 4 Barry when he lost his shit.
Yeah,
like straight up, the same outfit and everything. He's like, I'm kind of losing my mind here, Hank.
And then Todd Howard is here because he's executive producer. So apparently,
Todd Howard's just like Barry at the beginning of Barry.
He's got a fucking horn in on this thing to come talk about how he always wanted to make an Indiana Jones game. It's like, shut up and show me the fucking Indiana Jones
Sounds
game.
like Todd Howard.
You sons. Also, they have this shot of him. I'm sorry. I'm really drawing this out. The shot of him walking down the hall with these two guys, and I'm like, I don't know if Todd Howard is really short or if they just picked the two like
Tallest guys
6'5" Swedes in their fucking studio to walk down the hall with them. Like,
it might be. I don't know. Todd Howard never looked like a super tall guy to begin with.
Yeah,
I think he's like my height.
So yeah, we had a couple things. We had this opening cutscene where they got we got some Nazis. We got the bad guy coming down. Looks like they buried Mr. Jones up in the desert, and he's taunting him, telling him he's going to die and stuff. Yeah. So. Oh, wait, what the fuck was I going to say? This takes place between Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade, so they don't have any like big.
No, but Temple of Doom takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark, so that's a huge time frame.
So between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade,
that makes more sense.
Between whatever was before Last Crusade and Last Crusade.
Okay.
So you don't have to deal with any of that, any of the ramifications.
That's a really good version of Harrison Ford.
It's like, the thing is that I was thinking about how, okay, so like, you know, when I see Arthur Morgan or Kratos or fucking Peter Parker, I'm always like, oh, that's fine, but I don't have anything to compare those motherfuckers to, right? Whereas
you can sometimes compare them to maybe the model they got for it, but that's a maybe.
Like Until Dawn or some of the David Cage games have like recognizable people in them, but like this, I know Harrison Ford's face. I've been watching it my entire fucking life.
Is that the kind of guy you could see crashing his plane somewhere? Yes, it is.
So, okay, what is it? It's a first-person action-adventure game. It's got some stealth. I'm
a little disappointed that's first-person, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, apparently, like, if you go into... There's, like, some traversal stuff where you do third-person. Like, if you go to climb, it'll zoom out to third-person. I was a little... I don't know. I was slightly... there's a lot of, like, immersion that happens when you're in first-person, so I didn't necessarily dislike that all that much. But
well, it's more just because I was like, I like seeing Indy himself more than anything else.
well, there's a lot of cutscenes. At least in this presentation, there's a lot of cutscenes.
Because I was a big fan of Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, which was basically like Uncharted before Uncharted came out.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I wanted more of, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
It looks like they're doing a lot of the stealth stuff from Wolfenstein. Like you can, they show one point where you can like, because they talk a lot about you being able to use the whip, right? You're not gonna do that.
Of course, you're gonna have the whip.
Where you can like crack the whip to make like a noise that somebody goes to investigate, then like sneak around behind him and stuff.
So I don't watch this. How is the voice?
It's pretty good. It's Troy Baker is doing it.
They got Troy Baker to do it?
Yeah.
That's an interesting choice.
It's okay. It's like the thing is that it's slightly recognizable. It's not Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Because that voice is baked into my actual DNA. Like,
is he like trying to do an impression of it, or is it just Troy Baker being Troy Baker?
No, he's trying to sound like Harrison Ford.
Okay.
And it sounds like 85% like Harrison Ford.
I'll have to listen to it when I get a chance.
But yeah, I don't know. You're fighting Nazis, like tomb raiding. There's like a lady involved that's got her reasons for doing stuff.
I feel like they did the first person to not be compared to Uncharted.
There's some nice quips. They do some good Indiana Jones quipping. Whoever's doing their mocap has a pretty good lock on like some of the facial expressions.
That's good. They probably got Troy to do it because Troy does that for a lot of the Naughty Dog games he's done.
Yeah. So yeah, it's called Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I think is, to me, I don't know about you, Michael, but I have been largely unsatisfied with most of the Indiana Jones movies and game subtitles. Like, I feel like you could do better.
Yeah, most of them aren't like super memorable.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull became a meme,
right?
More than impressive.
Yes.
And Dial of Destiny just sounds okay, but Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade and Temple of Doom are so ingrained in my brain.
Dial of Destiny always reminds me of what Dial H for Hero.
Yeah.
Like that's all I can think of when they say Dial of Destiny.
Exactly. You don't immediately like the last two have weird names, and even the Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb kind of like I thought was a good name too.
It's okay.
Whereas the Great Circle is just like, well, that's just like I don't know. It's okay.
I mean, the thing is that it makes sense when you actually watch the trailer.
Hell, Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine is also a pretty decent name.
That's pretty good.
Which was the N64 game. Name.
They do show this thing where they're like 3D scanning Indiana Jones's hat, and I'm like, guys, it's a brown fedora.
Yeah.
Like, did you need to? I didn't need a 1-to-1 scan of Harrison Ford's hat. Like, come on, guys, just go to the Unreal store and buy a hat. Like,
they're worried about the nerds that are though. That's
right.
the thing. This Indiana Jones is one of those ones that's like adjacent to those crazy nerd people.
If you look at his hat, he's using the Carpathian dimple when they tied the side of it, and this is obviously a Windsor updo, which is just completely wrong for 1940.
I was really similar to that when I was younger. I got into an argument with this girl in college over the name of the hat because she's like, "That's not a fedora." I'm like, "Yes, it is. That's literally the whole fucking name of it." Because she was like, "I'm really into fashion." I'm like, "Apparently you're not, because you don't know what a fucking fedora is." So it was this like, yeah. So that was the thing. So I don't know. I'm very excited for this game, but that's because I'm just a big fucking fan of Indiana Jones, and that it's a series that is dying to have games, because it's such an adventure style story more than even Star Wars is. And then the last time they were going to make a game, they canceled it to make Force Unleashed. It frustrates you to no end because because a lot of people don't know this is the engine that was used in Force Unleashed was developed for Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings.
Okay,
which the guy it's
an Xbox game, right?
It was going to be 360. It was going to be a 360 PS3 game. Oh. And then they canceled it and they released the half-ass versions for PS2 and the Wii. Because it was that era where you would make the really good one, right, and then the lesser one would,
and then a third-party studio would crank out the other ones.
And so instead, they ended up just canceling the main version. They're like, "We're now going to make a Star Wars game." It's like, God damn it, guys! Because I was keeping an eye on it for years, and then one day they just canceled it. And I was so fucking pissed. And then they did nothing with Indiana Jones for years after that.
Yeah, I don't know what I
will never understand why they didn't just keep making especially with how Uncharted did really well.
Probably Spielberg wouldn't let him have the fucking rights to it.
No,
or
they
something,
just had the rights. It's just that nobody was greenlighting anything.
No,
because like I said, Staff of Kings still came out, and all these Star Wars games don't have to have Lucas's permission, as far as I know.
maybe they didn't have a studio with enough chops to make something they thought was going to be like worthy of the name, you know, as opposed to just like making this into trashware.
I think it's just they didn't think it would sell. I think is the idea. Because as much as I love Indiana Jones, I don't think it's as big as a name as Star Wars is to some people.
Yes,
and that's kind of a shame because even Harrison Ford likes it more than he likes Star Wars.
Sure,
which is the reason why he's like, "You'll take this franchise from my cold dead hands."
Yeah, so they show a lot. They show some like first person action, like punching daisies. You got the whip mechanic you can use for like traversal as well as combat. It all looks really solid, and like Machine Games is a great developer to do this. Like they've got a lot of experience with people punching Nazis in the face. If you need one studio,
that's the one you should get. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how it turns out. I will buy it. I will buy it day one. Even if it's a Game Pass thing, I will buy it physically.
Oh, and then they got. Sorry, I don't know who the guy is. They got. Hold on. Let me see if I can, because they talked about
we got Jim Williams.
No, he's like somebody well known. Gordy Hobb.
I have no idea
Gordy
who that
Hobb, a composer that's been able to capture the essence.
I'm sure he's really good though. I just wanted to make the Tom Hanks Jim Hanks joke.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of mocap. They talk a lot. They actually showed quite a bit. I was very happy with the amount that they showed.
Yeah, because we haven't heard anything about this for years now.
Yeah, outside of the teaser that came out was like 2-3 years ago,
something like that. And then the only other news we got was during the FCC thing.
Oh right,
because it was just part of the documents that hey, this might be an Xbox exclusive now.
Yep.
And I was like, oh no! And while looking at my giant list of fucking consoles right next to me, whatever shall I do?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks. You know what? It looks an awful lot like Wolfenstein with like an infusion of Uncharted, and then they just made Indiana Jones the main guy, and I'm just like, great, that's great. I'll do that. Yeah,
I will do that.
You give me that. That's fine.
I'm just bummed out, like again, because I kind of like playing third person adventure games like that, but I will still play it. Don't get me wrong. So
yeah, that's some using the whip to distract people.
Although me and you were joking about that one adventure first person game that had a whip in it, where we were just like, this is just like an Indiana Jones type thing. I wonder if they'll ever make a game like this using a first person.
That roguelike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what the name of it was.
It has some of that DNA in it too.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if that game helped them figure out the whip stuff.
Yep.
God, that guy looks so unhinged.
Did you miss Todd Howard stealing the golden statue behind him?
No, I did. That's kind of cool. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was it. That was all they showed. So like, I
do appreciate that they made a Marcus Brody model.
Yeah. It seems like this seems fun. And the rest of it seems like it would be great for people who are into that. Like that's what I would say for everything else is like that Civilization game. Oh yeah, and they said it's got a 2024 release date, which was something that we hadn't heard of before.
Yeah, we had no idea when it was supposed to happen at all.
I was really hoping that it was going to be like, and it's out February 13th.
Yeah.
Like
if they were like, oh, and it's out like in like a week, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to buy this now.
Yeah.
Fuck saving money.
So yeah, I mean, like I think that outside of Indiana Jones, I think Avowed is probably the other thing that I'm really excited for in here.
Yeah.
Hellblade, Visions of Mana, like those nothing like against them or anything, but like the big standouts here are Avowed and Indiana Jones. I think it's interesting though, Michael. How long ago did you and I start talking about Microsoft's acquisition of other companies? Like it wasn't even the Blizzard, Activision Blizzard. It was like
it was
2019, 2018.
It would have been 3 years ago, I think, something like that. Because the actual Xbox announcement came up on my Facebook memories actually, as I think 2 or 3 years ago
when they were buying like Obsidian,
and they bought Obsidian
Bethesda.
Like, I think the year before that.
Yeah,
so it was like 2019 or so.
Because like
is what I want to say.
It's been like years, and they're still barely getting games out of these studios.
I think it comes down to the fact that games just take longer and longer to make now because they're trying to push the limits so much that they end up spending a ton of money, and then either you get something really good or you get Redfall.
Right.
So,
which actually now that I actually see footage of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, like there's a lot of time and effort put into
There's
that.
a lot of love in that.
Yeah.
Because any studio could have fucked up just the look of Indiana Jones, and he looks just like Harrison Ford.
Because as near as I could tell, the last Machine Games game was like Cyber Pilot, because I know that Arcane did Youngblood, and then there was like Wolfenstein 2, and then I think they did whatever that spinoff was. The
New
VR
Order? No, wait, no, I'm thinking of the other one.
Yeah, because it was.
I think it was just like a Youngblood VR in general.
Well, the Youngblood was the Arcane spinoff, and then they had the Cyberpilot VR that was like a separate SKU. So it was like two different things.
I think they were part of the same time frame or whatever.
They came out the same year. They came out the same year,
if I remember correctly.
But like that's the last thing I can think of they were doing. So they've probably been working on this for like 4 or 5 years now. So
yeah, this was a hell of a surprise for a while when they first announced it. And then, so they had to have been working on it for a while before that too.
Yeah. Yep, and
I'm very excited. I love Indiana Jones. I have the hat and everything. So,
by the way, after that, they did that bullshit that they do where they're like, "Okay, now stay tuned because the Elder Scrolls Online guys are going to come out to tell you about the new expansion for Elder Scrolls Online." And I actually put it on in the background. And guess what, Michael? It sucks, and I don't want it. I don't care. Like it's a thing. It's for Chris. You go to ask Chris what he thinks about it. I don't know.
He might know about it.
Like I didn't play the last one, and that one actually looked interesting. So
that's true.
Anyway, with that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. But when we come back, we've got more news. So yeah, stick around. And Michael, if you thought we were done talking about Microsoft, you got another thing coming.
Did they buy something again?
No, we just had a bunch of stories. I don't know. This week was a weird news week. It's been. I feel like there was like a lot of big news. I think 2024. I'm hoping 2024 video game news. It's going to settle down a little bit. The acquisitions are down a little bit.
I'm hoping acquisitions are done, and I'm hoping that layoffs are mostly done.
Like we most of the games have come out, so it's not like we have to. Oh my god, I can't wait to hear about Spider-Man 2. That's out. It's fucking
No, I'm still waiting to hear about Spider-Man 2.
I wonder if there's
a New Game Plus.
Well, there is that. Anyway, let's see. Microsoft. Speaking of Microsoft, Activision Blizzard. I just kind of put them in the same bucket now.
Well, they are now technically the same bucket now.
True. They're making some changes to Overwatch 2.
Is there a kill Bobby Kotick mode?
God, I wish.
That would be fun. That would actually make me play Overwatch 2.
No, God, this is so stupid. So apparently in the next season of Overwatch 2, all the characters are going to have some kind of self-healing thing. I don't really know the specifics of how, but like all characters are going to be able to heal themselves, and like the quotes on this are just like, oh god, this is a guy that fucking runs away. This should give non-support players more options in terms of sustaining themselves. It should also take some of the pressure off support players to keep everyone alive, since individual players now have more control over their own health pool. Like the entire reason to have support characters is because they're in charge of everybody's health pool. Like
this just destroys the point of a healer,
right? Like they're like, oh yeah, well when we looked at the data, we saw a lot of people run off on their own and then they don't get healed and then they die, and it's just like, well, those people are stupid.
Yeah.
Like the reason that you win is you work with your team, and like you don't just go fucking cowboy in it unless you're using somebody that has a self heal.
All you did was just give incentive to go off on your own, which is a bad thing.
Yeah,
in a team game like this.
It's like, what is this? Quote, when a team works together, each player using their hero to their fullest potential while relying on each other to execute a strategy, the game feels magical. However, when this isn't happening and players are all working on their own, the game is far from magical. It can become frustrating. The reliance on teammates can simultaneously be one of the best and worst attributes of your game. It's like, bitch, if you don't want to deal with your teammates, play Call of Duty. Like, what are you talking about?
This is a team-based game.
Yeah.
That's not how this works.
Yeah, like team composition is a whole fucking thing. Now,
it's not a deathmatch game. It wasn't designed for like that.
Apparently, like this is a thing that I didn't know. Apparently, in ranked modes, you get like a list of all of the people on your team and what their health is at, as opposed to having to see the little bars over their heads and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna put that in non-ranked matches to make support characters more effective. And it's just like, Up to fucking take you so long to come up. These are baby ideas. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, do that.
It's because they couldn't figure out how to monetize it yet.
Right. You got to pay an extra $10 if you want that. Yeah, so they came out and they said this is part of the next big the big next content push that they're doing. They came out and said like the director guy came out and said like I should not have said this all on its own because this is coming with a bunch of other changes to like change the health pools and stuff like of various characters and like a bunch of other balancing that's supposed to make the game more fun. But it's like you guys just keep the things you keep changing about Overwatch seem like you're pushing it in a direction that keeps getting further from my hand picking up a controller to play it. It's like
Overwatch 1 was such a great like team-based thing. And then Overwatch 2 has just been the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Every single time they announce something new.
Yep.
Every single time.
Pretty much. From monetization to shit like this to game modes. It's just like
it's frustrating.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like the thing is, I don't want to talk too much about this because I feel like we talk about it all the time, but like it's been amazing over the last 5 or 6 years to be like, if it used to be that if Blizzard put out a game, of course I'm going to buy it. It's Blizzard. It's a mark of quality. And now I'm just like, no, I don't have any interest in what the fuck you guys are doing. Like, this is not, I'm not interested in this. Like,
even the Overwatch like meter of excitement it's skyrocketed and then it's just plummeted.
Yeah.
It's never recovered.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. Hope you people that are playing Overwatch, I don't know, maybe go play something else. Maybe go play that Paladins game. I don't know if they fucked up Paladins.
Yeah,
I don't know if Paladins is still even working.
I'm just bummed that the only other Overwatch like thing that was working was that Gundam game, and they shut that thing down.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yep, Gundam Evolution. Let's see. How about no Overwatch? How about Halo? I heard
about this.
I know you like Halo a little bit. So we gotta cast our minds back. I believe this was to like 2022,
quite a while ago.
There was a rumor because Halo Infinite apparently has just been the dumpster fire that can't get put out. Like, you put
they try.
You can throw as much sand and water on that motherfucker as you want, but it's not going out. It's like fucking Chernobyl. You got to get a bunch of naked miners to dig a hole so you can keep it from exploding.
No, it's like that coal fire that's under that city somewhere in America that just will never go out.
Centralia.
It's like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's like that. So apparently a little while back there was a news story. There was a rumor.
Yes.
There was a thing called Project Tanaka, and that Project Tanaka was another company inside of Microsoft that was working with 343 to create basically a Halo Battle Royale game. And I think you and I talked about it when the rumor came out.
We did, and then they came out with a Battle Royale Lite, which was like a 12-person Battle Royale.
Well, apparently they had an 8-person one, and then that moved to a 12.
Yeah, because I remember playing it when it came out, and it was all in one specific level.
Yeah,
there was never any other levels that had it. And what frustrated me that level was only used for that too.
Yeah,
and that's the main issue Halo Infinite has is they make levels and they don't use them for anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those levels that I was like, this would be really cool if it wasn't just a Battle Royale level every single fucking time.
Right.
And it was like a quick thing, and it wasn't even that interesting to begin with.
I think part of that though was like that part of that story was them talking about making this in Unreal as opposed to the custom Halo engine.
That would have been weird
to like get it out of there so that development didn't have to have this whole like custom thing.
Yeah, it would have been stuck in like with that specific team.
Yeah,
because they would have been the ones knowing about it.
That you could put more people with more experience on it. Anyway, this week on so January of last year, Bloomberg reported on this, and then this week there was this is the Xbox podcast. No. Wait, this is a different thing. Okay. Xbox Era had a podcast. This is really weird. Okay, so some weird shit going on here. Xbox Era had a podcast. It's a bunch of Xbox dudes talking Xbox stuff, and like some of them are insiders. And they were talking about the rumor mill. And some guy was like, "Oh yeah, I heard that this had been that whole thing had been like shelved." And then another guy was like, "Oh, I've heard that it's been fucking canceled." And they were like, "Well, I don't know for sure."
And I heard he has an 8-pack in the shower.
And then like and then the first guy like gets a DM while they're talking about it and is like, "Oh, like what is it?" He's like, actually, I can't talk about this. Like, puts his phone down.
Bring it up.
But then they literally published like this article on the Xbox Acceptor, and they're like, yeah, people just went crazy reporting on this rumor story from these guys. I'm like, these guys weren't making shit up.
No.
Like,
yeah, they were just talking about what they heard about.
Right. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's possible that they might have. I think that they might have a problem with Halo right now. Of like, where does Halo fit in the current multiplayer? Because it's not as hot as it used to be, right? You don't just put out a Halo and it's like boom, top of the charts.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is that Halo Infinite, it started off really promising, and then they did nothing with it.
Yeah,
and then they tried doing something with it, and it got a small boost, but then it dropped just as fast.
Yeah,
because I knew a guy who worked. Like, I literally knew a guy who worked on it for a while. He's no longer, because he was a contract worker, so he doesn't work for them anymore.
Yeah,
but he was very excited about the stuff that they were working on, and because like it's clear that they want to make this a thing, but they don't know how to keep the momentum.
Right.
Especially, like you said, in this day and age of multiplayer shooters
and Fortnite,
because of everything. Live service games are so hard to do.
Yeah,
and you would think that. You think like a giant franchise like Halo would have the budget and the teams to make that work, but it's obvious that Microsoft is just sort of threw them out there and was like, make a live service game, and they're like, how? They're like, I don't fucking know, figure that shit out.
Yeah.
And then their own management is clearly having issues with it. So.
Right. Yeah. So, but I don't know if it has been shelved. Like, it's an interesting idea. I mean, I wouldn't say that like a Halo battle royale game would be like a smash hit out of the gate.
No,
but I do wish that we had more games. I wish there was a Halo game that I felt like I would want to play multiplayer, because I actually like the multiplayer for Halo because it's a little bit more forgiving than Call of Duty.
You can survive much easier in a Halo game than anything else.
It reminds me more of like Fortnite, where you can when you get shot, you can react to it instead of just like, and then you're dead. But like. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. This is another weird one with Microsoft, where like I was just talking about how Blizzard used to be like this mark of quality, and like it's very strange in this generation and even the end of the last generation to watch like these tentpole Halo isn't as much of a thing anymore as it used to be. It used to be that was a fucking huge thing.
Same with Gears and Halo were the things that kept Microsoft afloat. For years.
Yeah,
and so they're no longer the big guy in anything.
It's just so weird, because it's like when you read the stories about Halo and they're like, oh yeah, they gave it to this new team and then they kind of like starved them for resources a little bit and like put them under a big time crunch. And then with Gears, I haven't even heard a rumor that there's another Gears in the works. Like that franchise just seems like it's gone. And I like the last Gears, and I like Gears Tactics quite a bit. Like we had the Gears Tactics and then the Funko mobile Gears
that
thing.
Gears Tactics they did for that.
It's like they did this last final push with 3 Gears games, and then they were just like, and we're done. And I'm like, well, no, guys, you could do more. What
was weird is that like it was obvious they were trying to make a trilogy out of what they were doing, and then after 5, they're just like, and then nothing. Haven't heard shit about it. Hell, they took the word wars out of it. It used to be Gears of War, and then once 4 came out, it was just Gears 4.
Oh, was
Gears 5? Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That was the thing, because I was talking to somebody about it. Because every time they would say Gears 5, I'm like, how come we don't say Gears of War anymore? It's because they literally don't say that at all now. Because they want to try to separate it from the original trilogy by just calling it Gears.
It's like, are you trying to lighten the image of the game with the men with the chainsaw guns and the soul patches?
They are, which is the weirdest thing about it. It's like, you guys understand why everyone loved those originals, right? Because it was just dude, bro.
They were edgy as fuck, man. Like,
you had a football player as one of your characters. Kind of thing. Also, everybody was like tree trunk sized arms in a world where you couldn't get food very easily. Which made it really funny.
No, fucking Marcus Phoenix's dad had tree trunk sized arms. He was like a scientist built like fucking Ivan Drago.
You would see them walking next to like women that were like sticks. And it was just, they made it that much more obvious that they're like 3 times the size of a normal human being. And Marcus Phoenix was in a prison for a while at the beginning of that game, but he walks out like fucking, like he was doing steroids the whole time.
Well, part of that was they had a golden corral in the prison. That was punishment enough. That was all there was.
That's all there was.
You know, so
he just kept getting the ice cream thing.
He just got the bread. Just carbs. Only carbs.
But he would use the fountain, the chocolate fountain, though. It's like, I'm still going to have chocolate, though.
So yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Halo, not even Halo. Sorry, Microsoft's franchises just aren't there, which I think is fascinating.
It's weird because a lot of the other stuff they're really on point with, but like it seems like just games. Like games seems to be the problem.
Like when we're talking about the Hellblade thing, they're trying to make Hellblade a thing,
right?
And it's like it's not working, guys.
Or you tried to, well, that was before.
If you can't make Halo work, how are you gonna make Hellblade work?
Like, I mean, Bethesda was the one who pushed Arcane into making Redfall, and like there was literally those things where Phil Spencer was like, I would have canceled that, but I didn't want. I didn't want to like interfere.
I don't want to be like tyrannical about this thing.
Right.
We promised them we wouldn't. And I think I should have been at that one instance.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe the problem is just that we're still in the grace period, that we're still shaken down into like getting shit figured out. Because
I don't know. I don't really know what the grace period is anymore. Because people forget these next gen consoles have been out for a while now.
They have. But then also it takes like 5 years to make a video game.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of video games, Starfield's first update was coming out January 17th. This is supposed to have 100 fixes. Most of it is like quest fixes, but then also some improvements and like graphical fidelity and like some of the texture mapping and stuff like that.
See, what it does now is it adds a companion that says, look, empty planets are fine.
Right. And then no, it didn't actually come out because they
wait, seriously?
Yeah, right before. Well, okay, so they're doing this weird thing where like they put their betas on Steam first.
Oh, okay.
And then they put they've gone through and made sure that they aren't fucked up, then they put them onto the Game Pass version.
Okay, so is it that it's on Steam but it's not on anything else?
No.
Oh, wait, they didn't even do that?
It didn't come onto Steam. Apparently, right before they were about to release it, they found some inexplicable like bug. It's like, so they've got to go back and like fix that before they can put it into beta.
That's a shame.
On Steam. So no, that didn't come out. It's possible by the time you hear this podcast that it might already be out, because it was supposed to come out the day before we recorded this, and they said they were supposed to have it fixed by the end of the week, so there's a good possibility it could be out. But like apparently it's not going very well at Bethesda. Like it's not. It just, I don't know what the problem. Like I was having a conversation in the Discord where I think you could make Starfield a lot better, even if you just took what was there and you just adjusted all of the values, right? Give me more equip weight, make the guns hit harder, let me get more cash, right? Like just let me feel like I'm doing something fun,
yeah, as
opposed to mostly inventory management for trying to get money to buy new ships that I can't even fly.
Well, the main thing about Bethesda that everybody has finally noticed, because the reason I say finally is because people have been saying this for years, is that Bethesda is outdated.
Yeah.
They have been doing the exact same type of game since Skyrim, and people were eating it up at first because the things were interesting enough and the world was interesting enough that they could get away with it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then Fallout 4 happened, and then people started seeing the cracks.
Oh, but yeah.
And then Fallout 76 happened.
Yep.
And everybody was like, what the fuck is happening? And then that's when like, wait, Bethesda doesn't actually know how to make anything past that type of game. And so people were excited that Starfield could be, hey, maybe they're going to push past that and make something new and exciting.
Yeah.
And it was just the same fucking thing.
Well, what's interesting is that I wanted to, I'd like to disagree with you, but one of the other things that we found out this week was somebody posted a screenshot that was like found in the game files for Starfield that is like a screenshot of like a universe map, and it's got some very interesting things on it.
Okay.
Like this is not a decoration. It's got like the it's got all the UI like hotkeys on it.
Yeah.
But what you might see is that up here there's a panel on the right-hand side, and it's got something that says fuel consumption. So, like, your distance is limited by how much fuel you are carrying, which is something that Todd Howard specifically said they took out because they didn't want it to interfere with the fun.
Yeah.
And then also you can see down here that the place that the character, like in this screenshot they're looking to jump to, it's got like travel hazards. So like this has solar radiation, light hull damage, micrometeor can cause catastrophic stop. So like there were things that would like interrupt you if you went through like dangerous places in the universe. And I was thinking about this today where I'm like, I think that this I think that this screenshot, and like who knows if this is real or how early in development it is, right? Like I'm not saying that like this was the game and then they changed it like at the last minute, right? But what I will say is that I think that part of the problem of Starfield might be that it is too optimized. Like they took too many roadblocks out.
They streamlined it too much.
They streamlined it too hard. Yeah. They sanded the edges to like a straight line. Like there's nothing. So you're very on rails of getting from this place to this place to this place to this place. And it's like, oh,
they looked at the general audience too much in this case.
Is there any way to get stranded in space? No, because we didn't want to interrupt the fun. And it's like, well, but overcoming adversity is fun.
Yeah.
Like Armored Core.
Planning these things out is really, really interesting.
Armored Core is difficult, and when I overcome that difficulty, it is fun.
Yes.
You know, it wouldn't be fun if it held my hand the entire time. So the idea that actually makes to me a lot of sense. Where it's like, well, are there any dialogue choices where you can just fail and lock yourself out of a mission? I don't think so. Like.
The closest if you just get somebody killed, and
right?
A lot of times that's a lot of games though.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of like what are the impediments in Starfield that you have to overcome, and by removing those, did you actually make the game less fun as opposed to more fun? You're like,
because the impediments were not gameplay related so much as they were just things that were like, why isn't this a thing? Like the maps thing.
Yeah,
like how come I don't just have a map of where the fuck I am currently?
Yep.
And like that was not a fun thing to overcome, but like you said, this screenshot, solar radiation. But like, okay, I need to make sure these specific things are on my ship to overcome that. Mm-hmm. That's a fun idea. Or also being like, and it would make customizing the ship even more interesting.
Or like, oh, my ship is damaged. And like I have to get back. Like I only have enough fuel for one jump, and the only place to jump through has intense solar radiation. If I'd done the math, and I'm going to have 2% of my hull left by the time I land, and then you land and you see your ship all smoking, and you're just like, woo! And that's fun. Hey, that's fun.
It'd be like that. Like you watch Solo, right?
Yeah.
Like the part when the Millennium Falcon lands and it's just super fucked up. Yeah. And you're just like, man, that was awesome.
And then it's not like you can't die in Starfield, right? Yeah. When you're in space, you get jumped by raiders, and it's like, well, you could die. And you know what happens when you die? You go back to your last fucking save point, right?
There was a lot of cool... Like, there's so much about Starfield when they were first talking about it that sounded like it could be a really fun game.
Yep.
And the version we got was so designed for... The baby is the best way of putting it. Mm-hmm. The baby general audience is the way I'm going to say it, because... And I don't mean that as a mean way. It's just that the general audience tends to bounce off of things that they don't want to put too much work into. And somebody at Bethesda was like, we need to get everybody to buy this game.
I mean,
instead of just the people we know are going to buy this game.
Dude, I don't know. Baldur's Gate 3 sold a fucking shit ton. Like Elden Ring sold a shit ton. Like,
but again, no one saw that coming.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is you can't. The thing about the general audience in general is you have no fucking idea what they want.
Sure.
They don't know what they want.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I hold out hope that someday they'll get their shit together, and in their first expansion that they want to do this year, that they'll be like adding some of the stuff back in, or maybe making changes that will make it better. Because I think you could make Starfield a fun game.
There's something there. There's a great set of bones that you can work with.
Yep. So Palworld updated their Steam page today with an FAQ. This is really interesting because one of the specific things that they put on here, all this like stuff, they're like, when's it releasing? Is there PvP? Can I play it on the PlayStation 5? Like, you know, but the last thing they asked, the last FAQ thing is this game a scam, or is it money-making MMO or virtual currency game? And they're like, it is not a scam, and it will definitely be released. It is a typical Steam game. You buy once, it's yours forever. While we may consider expansions after the full release, this is a conversation we will all have together as a community when the time comes. I think this day before shit really like rattled some people online.
Yeah. It absolutely did. And not only that, the reason they have to say that is because the fact that it is Pokemon with guns. Because that sounds like such a scam game.
Yep.
It sounds like if it was a phone game, it would be an obvious scam.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so they have to be sure that, hey, this isn't one of those Facebook ads you see where it's like, play the new Dragon Ball game, where it's just like clearly screenshots from Dragon Ball Fighters,
Right.
kind of thing. It's like, no, this is a real game we made, we swear.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I guess most people don't follow the news, right? Like, you have people that are just in the Steam ecosystem, but it's like Xbox would not put this on Game Pass if this was a scam. Like,
Yes.
they've
done their vetting.
they've done
I
enough.
assume.
So
This is what they should be pushing instead of Hellblade 2. I'm not even kidding. I think this would excite people way more.
oh hell yeah! I think I'm excited. It comes out the day after we record this. I'm going to play it. I think it looks interesting. I'm probably not going to keep playing it, but I'm probably going to check it out. So.
Who knows, Jeff? You never know. You might get sucked in.
I don't know, man.
It'll beat Starfield.
that fucking Prince of Persia game is
That's fair.
calling my name.
But does it have
hard.
Pokemon with guns? Is what I'm saying.
It's got Metroidvanias. It's got Vanias as well as Metroids. So
That's fair.
Yeah. Let's see. In other kind of grumbling news, okay, City Skylines 2 came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
People are not very happy with it. People are not very happy with the state of the game. There was a lot of things that they thought should have been included in the game, like mod support, and that the overall like performance of the game was seen as kind of
Was
bad.
this the one with the FPS thing too?
Yes, there's one where the guy said like, "Oh, there's no reason for this game to run over 30 FPS." This is the one where we saw that they put like teeth in the NPCs, like in the millions of people or something, like fucking something crazy like that.
Super detailed teeth.
They basically came out with a statement basically saying like, "Hey, you fucking nerds, like quit harassing our staff and yelling at them and being fucking jerk-offs to them, or we're gonna have to like stop being as responsive." Basically, the threat here is if you guys aren't nicer, we're basically going to like cut off any contact that you're gonna have with the staff working on this game, as opposed to just the official community manager like posts and stuff like that. And I'm really of two minds with this, because on the one hand, like, people online shouldn't harass people, right? But on the other hand, they did charge $70 for this game, and like people expected it to come out much more polished than it is right now. Like, like instead of being the kind of traditional, we're going to release it in kind of a half finished state, and then we're going to polish it up like after launch once we see what the problems are. They should have worked harder on getting also because it's a fucking like SimCity game, right? Like it's not like you need people to look at this
they
so
also
hard.
should be super upfront with what they were doing as well, and I feel like they weren't.
Well, one of the big things I think I was reading through some of the, because people were relatively nice on social media. I went and read on Steam where they made the statement, because on Steam it's like you don't control the comments. Like Steam just lets people fucking do whatever. So people were a lot harsher. But one of the comments on there was like, you were supposed to be like providing like pre-order bonuses and like these specific scheduled updates like months ago, but you've had to spend that time fixing the game instead of doing like fulfilling because they had a collector's edition for $99 that came with like additional things that were supposed to roll out very shortly after the game came out.
Which is, God, that's actually much worse then.
Yeah. There's also a thing, and I don't agree with this one. I saw people on the Steam forums bitching about like, how dare you guys take 2 weeks off for like the holidays? Like, the game is broken. My video game is broken. You don't deserve to take 2 weeks off. My video game is broken. I'm like, well, let's not.
Yeah, that one.
Let's not get too ahead of us.
You need to calm the fuck down on that part.
Yeah, and I do disagree. I do not like it when people are like personal attacks or really mean. But by the same token, I do think that like video game developers, like if you didn't want this to happen, then you shouldn't threaten to take away the devs' access to the community. You just take it away. Like, guys, everybody goes to a community manager from now on. Like, that's we hire somebody to deal with this horse shit. Do that instead of being like, you guys need to fucking calm down. Yeah, I know you spent $100 on this video game and we didn't give you what we promised and it runs like ass, but like, you need to be nicer about it and be patient and calm. Like,
well, if anything, like they should, like you were saying, they should have just stopped already.
Right.
Like they should have just been like, okay, we're just not going to talk to you until we fix everything.
Yep.
Because at this point, us talking to you is probably wasting their time anyways.
Yep.
And it would be like in the community manager, like you said, they're literally hired to funnel your questions.
Yep.
And so
to eat the negativity and come back with like reasonable
like
shit.
it would be the one time when the Bobs are like, what do you do here? Would
Right.
have been valid.
Yeah.
Of being, hey, I talked to the customers.
Yep. Let's see. Ooh, I need to keep to my schedule. Let's see. Foamstars is a thing. There was an interview with the guy, the director or whatever on Foamstars, who said like they asked him. It was the producer. Asked him like, "Are you tired of people comparing your game to Splatoon?" And he's like, "Yes." Yes, I am. It's completely different. I think people should call it. I think it'd be great if people came up with their own, with an individual term for this style of game instead of just calling our game a Splatoon ripoff. Like we can call it like a party action game or something like that. And it's like, you guys suck. You suck at this.
No. So here's the reason why everything's called a Metroidvania game.
Yep.
Is because they're comparing it to exactly what it is.
Yep.
So they're just going to be, it's a Splatoon game.
Yep.
It will forever be that because they're the one who started it.
Yep.
So it's going to be exactly the same.
Soulsborne games aren't made by From Software, even though that name is a portmanteau of two FromSoft games. So
it's the Band-Aid thing.
Yep.
Like it's the exact same fucking thing.
Yep. Also, they came out with a release date. Also, they're putting us on PlayStation Plus because that worked so well for, what was that, Destruction Derby game?
Oh, I think it was just called Destruction All-Stars.
Destruction All, yeah, something like that.
It did work for Rocket League though.
Oh yeah,
years ago. But that's the only one I know that it worked for.
This game looks like ass, Michael. This game looks like ass. It looks so fucking terrible to me. It doesn't look fun from a multiplayer perspective. It looks like with Splatoon, you could clearly tell what was ink and what was not.
Yeah.
And this is just a fucking mess. It's a mess of colors.
I don't even know if you would know if you're winning or not because the colors don't even look that different from each other.
Yep.
Especially in this this footage. It doesn't look like a good game at all.
February 6th. We got a release date, February 6th.
Yeah, I can't tell the difference between these foams.
It looks fucking awful. Well, one is pink and one is blue.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that I can't tell that well.
Yeah.
Because the issue is there's a bunch of neon colors of the same colors.
And
that make it harder to tell what's what.
Lens flares and neon all in the background. Everything is lit up to 11 all the time.
This game looks just this game is going to die so fast.
Yep.
And it's going to deserve it.
This is going to be the Chocobo GP of 2024, baby.
It's going to be that fucking rocket game that we played.
Oh, yeah.
It finally got shut down because I thought it was shut down a long time ago.
Uh-oh. All right, we're going to have to speed it up a little bit. Also, they're using a little bit of AI art in there.
God damn it.
This, I think, is fine. They said that they were dabbling, and they basically have, album covers. So they generated the album cover. They said it's 0.01% of the art assets are AI generated.
I guess.
They were just, record covers, and instead of making somebody sit there all afternoon making them, they just made a bunch of abstract stuff with Midjourney and then put it in the game. I don't know how that works because last time I checked, I think you can't copyright Midjourney generated stuff.
You can, but if it's just something that's in the game real quick, they probably aren't worried about it.
I guess I gotta okay.
Because unless they're gonna sell stuff for it, I don't think they're that worried about it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Speaking of trademark,
yeah, Take-Two and Remedy. Okay, this is a silly story.
It's super stupid.
This is a very silly story. And no, but it's not even a story. It's not even a story. You may have seen it happen. I learned it. It's not even a story. There was some paperwork filed where Remedy filed their new R trademark, their new R logo, right? And then there was on that trademark filing, there was a dispute from Rockstar. This actually happened last year.
Oh, really?
We talked about this last year.
Oh, dude, I don't even remember that. Then.
Yeah, where the intent was for them to sue. And it was revealed in April, and then there was a trademark dispute. Remedy updated. They sent a statement. This is from a Eurogamer article saying, "There's nothing to see here. This was a discussion between our teams that was resolved entirely and amicably late last year. Unfortunately, it took a little longer to complete than we had hoped due to some holiday scheduling. The legal filing was simply an initial formality, and Remedy and Take-Two continue to work together in partnership." So,
it would make sense that they would, resolve it real fast because they're still making the Max Payne remaster.
Right. So, yeah, they don't want to be contentious. Also, no court in the land is going to say, because the word Remedy is actually part of the Remedy logo.
Yes.
So the thing is, Rockstar would have to prove that somebody could look at the new Remedy logo and think that it was Rockstar and not Remedy, and like it literally says Remedy on the logo.
Yeah.
So.
Also, there's no star in that higher symbol.
Yep, it's not the same font. Anybody could go to court and get this shit thrown out, no problem.
Super fast. It's an R.
I think that I think that they have to. I think this was a thing where they had to kick a dispute. Just because Rockstar is fucking litigious, and it's like the best way to figure out whether this is legit or not is to basically file a we object, and then you go and you look at it, and then you go, okay, it's fine.
Take-Two is one of the most litigious companies ever.
Yeah,
and so they're gonna they had one of the reasons Duke Nukem Forever even came out was they had to sue them to finally make the game come out.
Do you remember they sued Hazelight, Joseph Ferris over It Takes Two?
Yeah,
they're like, nope. You can't use the word takes or two. And it's like, fuck you. Fuck you, man.
Yeah. Take-Two's fucking stupid.
Fuck you.
But they've also helped make a lot of our favorite games.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird catch-22.
It's like Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know, they have no chill. They have no chill whatsoever.
No chill. It's really funny.
Hey, speaking of court, the Supreme Court is not going to hear the Epic versus Apple suit.
Oh.
So the end result of that suit was that the judge said Epic is not being the Apple is not a monopoly and Epic is not being hurt by them. However, Apple is not allowed to only accept payments through their store. Like you have to let apps accept payments through outside portals, which is technically a win, right?
Yeah, that is a giant win for them.
That got appealed to, I believe it was the 9th Circuit, 5th Circuit, one of the circuits, one of them Circuit City. They appealed it to Circuit City.
They're back in legal form.
9th, and then that got kicked up to the Supreme Court. The 9th upheld the judgment. Then it got kicked up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court looked at it and said, "No, we're too busy doing horrible, stupid shit. We don't want to deal with you nerds."
No, we don't want this. Like Apple, Epic, Fortnite. What is that? I don't fucking give a shit.
Yeah.
Does it involve Republicans? No, I don't want to deal with this.
Clarence Thomas was like, "What's a phone? I send my judgments via carrier pigeon." And
he also plays Fortnite on that pigeon.
Yes, he plays Fortnite on a pigeon. So yeah, that is not going to be a thing. In other Epic news, this is a sad day. Oh, actually, this is a weird day.
It's a weird
day. So, Michael, I don't know if you knew this, but Rock Band 4 came out in 2015. Were you aware that Harmonix was still selling music packs for Rock Band 4 in the year 2023?
No, I had zero idea. I had forgot it even happened until this Fortnite thing happened.
Yes. So Harmonix came out and said, as of February, we're no longer going to be putting out track packs for Rock Band 4. We are going to be moving over to working exclusively on that Rock Band thing that's in Fortnite now, Fortnite Festival or whatever it's called. So, it's the end of an era, but by the same token, I had no idea we were still in that era. I had no idea that,
I thought the era died a long time ago.
At this very moment that we're recording, that I could open up the Xbox store and find Rock Band tracks, new ones, now?
Never even occurred to me. Never even occurred to me that was so happening.
For 9 years, they've been putting out Rock Band tracks I thought they were done with that a long time ago. So,
also the Fortnite thing isn't even that interesting, to be honest.
Yeah,
but that's more because they haven't updated it to use the instruments yet.
Yes, I think there's a lot of. I think
also you can't sing in it.
Yeah,
it's just this. It's still the same
little,
fucking
little
thing.
Buttons.
Yeah, so it kind of destroys the point.
Yep, I agree. But I think it's a good baseline, though, as a place to put Rock Band where it can live in perpetuity because Epic has the money to be able to just leave the servers on.
Also, apparently you can use the songs as emotes.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Let's see. Speaking of DLC, all right. There's a lot of Elden Ring going on right now.
Okay.
There's a lot of Elden Ring going on right now. I got 3 Elden Ring stories. So first, this is just how thirsty are the fans of Elden Ring. There was a very small patch to Elden Ring on the PC, Elden Ring 1.10.1, that basically just updates their anti-cheat stuff to work with the new stuff. Apparently, everyone was replying basically with Yeah, but like, what about the DLC? Like, what about the DLC? What about the DLC? What about the DLC? This is one of those situations. I've started to turn a little bit on this, where I'm like, I agree with the Elden Ring fan base. I am one of them.
Yes, you are the fan base.
But like, they announced the DLC like 2 years ago.
It's been about 2 years now.
2 years ago. Last year we had Armored Core. Very happy. Very happy.
Yeah.
Love my Armored Core. Go watch Sequential Saturday with me and Matt. It's a blast. I love Armored Core. I love this one. I love 6. Can't fucking pay me to play 5 or 4. Those things are ugly as shit.
I tried. It's a fun time, but you really need somebody to tell you how to play it.
Yeah. But like, it's about time to hear something, you guys. Like, you can't just have a very popular game and then just be like, no, nothing.
We'll be done when it's done.
There's a possibility that we might be hearing something sometime very soon, because the second one is that their YouTube playlist updated.
Oh.
Now, there isn't like a new video on there, but like, somebody did something and saved their playlist like this week.
Oh.
And there people are like, wait, now hold on a minute. Now wait, that means there's an unlisted version of Shadows of the Erdtree trailer.
Something's privated is really the idea.
Sitting on there.
Hopefully.
So yeah, last updated January 4th. So it was like a little while back, but like, but we just kind of found out about it. People just were starting to like notice it this week.
Well, it's because once something's updated, somebody starts looking into everything else and then hoping they'll find something.
Yes. But then the last piece, because you remember, were you on when we talked about the controller thing?
We did.
Those controllers came out that said like, February, Elden Ring, there's going to be a thing.
That's why everyone thought it was going to be part of the Game Awards.
Yep. Finally, there was an update to the Steam backend, basically adding like an unlisted DLC package to the Elden Ring, because apparently Steam just does not fucking care. Like,
no, they don't.
They'll just tell you whatever.
A lot of leaks come from just Steam shit that just pops up.
So you have, like, if you list here the downloadable content, there's the Elden Ring, there's like the adventure guide, there's an art book, there's a bonus stuff from the pre-order, and now there's a new thing that was added, like, very recently.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, the weird thing is, if all this indicates that Elden Ring DLC is going to come out in February, I would have expected to see a fucking trailer by now,
or like a teaser outside of that.
Like, I was hoping that Xbox thing was going to have some kind of Elden Ring teaser, and people in the Discord were like, "Why would you think that?" I'm like, "Because all the fucking signs, I threw the bones and they spelled out Elden Ring February 2024. Like, all of the signs are telling me that this DLC is about to come out. They don't have anything on the horizon. Armored Core 6 is pretty much done and in the bag.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have anything else even announced at this point. Like, outside of this is what they have announced.
It is fascinating. But it might be one of those instances where we get a trailer like a week or two before it comes out.
I guess. I would think that maybe they're just suffering from like they're like no, I don't know if people really they're like a guy with low self-esteem where it's like, well, I don't know if she really likes me. It's like, bro, she took her shirt off. I don't know what else you need over here.
God
like,
damn you.
So, oh boy. Okay, let's run even faster. Capcom threw some DRM on old games.
Yep.
This goes back to that thing where that dude had naked Chun-Li, and then Capcom came out and they were like, mods are sins of the flesh, and the good Lord says you should not mod your video games.
They added it to a bunch of games too, apparently.
They added it to a bunch of they've been adding it to a bunch of stuff, this thing called Enigma Protector.
Yeah.
That is not what's the DRM area? De Novo.
But people are getting into arguments with the Enigma team.
Yes.
And Enigma's like, dude, they just bought our shit. Like, leave us the fuck alone.
And they added it to Resident Evil Revelations, which has been out for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is a single player game. I don't even know what you're doing. And then it slowed the game down and people noticed it. And so they took it out, but they said they're coming back. They're going to put it back in. Strangely enough, I understand what is happening here between the shit that got done to Lady Dimitrescu and Leon Kennedy with a shirt off and cat ears and naked Chun-Li showing up at your fucking fighting game tournament. I'm like, I kind of get you, Capcom. Like, people are weirdly horny for your games and love. I got baby head Chris Redfield and Chris Redfield headed babies. Like, I kind of get it. but also you're gonna have to chill out. Like,
no, you have to realize, guys, that you're taking the fun out of the PC game part of it. There's a reason why people buy PC versions of games. It's because they can do dumb, insane shit like this.
Yep. But I don't think that's going to stop them. I think they've wound themselves up into a frenzy that this is a war they need to fight.
Oh, no, that was the funniest thing when they got into arguments with the Enigma team. They're like, "Here's the deal, guys. Like we're going to tell you up front, Enigma, that all Capcom has done is thrown the gauntlet down, where we're just going to start cracking your software.
Yeah,
and it's going to be bad for you. So." I'm just gonna tell you that up front.
Yep.
And Enigma was just like, dude, I don't fucking know what to tell you. Like
it wasn't me.
Yeah, Capcom bought our shit and they added it to their games. Yep. We didn't do anything. So yeah, it's really funny.
We may God, we're almost out of time here. We're gonna leave like 2 of these for coming back.
Okay.
This is the weirdest fucking story of all time.
Oh my god.
GameShark's
still a thing.
GameShark is coming out with a new thing called GameShark AI that's supposed to do what GameShark does, but via AI. And when they made this release, they basically said, like, the official launch is planned to coincide with the Nintendo Switch 2 in September of 2024.
Oh, my God.
They just put that on their website.
What the fuck, GameShark?
And then people were like, what the fuck, GameShark? And then GameShark said, actually, I meant late 2024. And people were like, what the fuck, GameShark?
You're still saying things that you shouldn't be saying.
And then they said, we just made that up because we wanted the attention that if we put a date on our website that people would be like, oh, GameShark, they start talking about us again. And I'm like, I don't believe you, GameShark.
I don't believe you
I do not believe you at all. I think that you guys run a fucking janky-ass ship over there. And somebody was just like, should I put the date on there? And they're like, what am I, your fucking mother? Just do whatever. I don't give a shit. They're owned by Alltech Lansing. What was the last year that you bought something that Alltech Lansing makes?
I didn't think GameShark was still a thing.
I didn't think Alltech Lansing was still a thing.
I didn't think either one was a thing, yeah. But whenever you ask a question like that, a wizard did it.
Right, exactly. So I do not believe. I believe that we are probably going to have a game.
Holy shit!
Switch 2. Everybody just remember this: August 2024. If that's when the Switch 2 came out, you heard that first from fucking GameShark.
God damn.
GameShark.
That was not on my bingo card for 2024.
No, sir.
Holy shit.
How about GameStop is bad at doing things? Was that on your bingo card?
Oh, that's always on my bingo card.
They're shutting down their NFT marketplace.
I'm shocked, Jeff. Shocked.
I know.
Wasn't this only last year that they turned it on?
2022. July of 2020. Well, let's see. Yeah. Yep. As that was 2022, as NFTs were already losing all cultural relevance.
Yes.
And then they spun up their website that was full of garbage.
And a lot of them were NFTs of copyrighted material at first.
They had a problem where they had their logo, their mascot was the guy in a spacesuit.
Yeah.
And people made one that was the falling man from 9/11, but it was the guy in the spacesuit, and then they were selling it, and then they were like, no, we're gonna take that down. It was instantly it was a problem.
Yeah, immediately.
Instantly it was a problem.
It was amazing that it lasted as long as it did.
They are leaving because of the quote continuing regulatory uncertainty of the crypto space, unquote. That has been since day one, my man. I don't know what to tell you.
Since the moment you were like, let's do NFTs, that was the moment you should have said no.
5 years before that. It's always been that.
Well, it's my favorite tweet where it's it's easy to say that NFTs were a scam now, as it was when it began, when we kept telling you it was a scam.
Right. This stuff is still going to exist on the blockchain, right? It's on the specific blockchain, just the store will no longer be there.
It's worth 30 cents probably.
And then apparently I'm bad at doing this, so last but not least, before we go into other stuff, Baldur's Gate 3 had an update, and you know what? I think what I learned is that Gale leaving my party is specifically what this update fixes.
Oh, really?
Gale the wizard in Baldur's Gate 3 keeps asking for your magical items to eat them, to consume them, to destroy them. And he asked me for one, and I said, here. And he said, that one's not good enough. Give me the good one, the one good piece of equipment that you have. And I said, no. And he said, well, then fuck you. And left. And I was like, don't let the forest door hit you in the ass on the way out, bitch. But apparently this new update makes it so that if you don't volunteer to give him stuff, he will no longer pester you to give him stuff, which then makes his dissatisfaction go down and causes him to bamf out of the game like he did mine. My Gale left 3 hours into the game, and I didn't miss him for the other 120 hours I was playing.
Oh, wow.
I know everybody fucking loves that guy, but you guys can take your Gale and Shadowheart and your white bread and bologna and mayonnaise and go over the fucking there. I'm going to take my Muy Caliente, Karlak, Asterion, and Will. Thank you very much.
That's amazing.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We went a little bit long, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We come back. We got trailers. We have a few other things. We'll see you in a minute. All right, Michael, one final push, and then we're done. We have one news story left before we get to the trailers. Sony is making an Until Dawn movie.
Why?
Well, yeah, that was kind of my first thought was like, Until Dawn was a movie. I don't know what you're talking about. But if you had to take a video game and make it into a movie, I feel like this is perfect because you just make that game into a 2-hour movie and then people can watch it instead of having to play it, I guess.
No, my issue with doing it, and the reason I said why, is because the whole point of Until Dawn is the different choices you make.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just sort of destroys the point.
A lot of the choices you make in Until Dawn are mostly just whether people get killed or not. Like,
yeah, but that's what I mean, though. Like, it's like, because there's there's super good endings where everyone survives for the most part. And then there's like the bad endings where just you somehow get every single person killed, kind of thing. And that's half the fun. Like how many people we can get. Like I always think back to yours and Brian's Until Dawn playthrough, and you and Brian are like, "Hey, you know what? Everybody's survived so far. I think we're doing really well." And that exact episode is where like half the fucking cast just fucking dies.
Yeah.
And I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
And that was like I said, that's half the fun because you're like, "I'm doing really well," and then you just don't.
I don't know. Of all the stuff Supermassive has put out, I think this one it'd be interesting to see because Until Dawn has like a twist and then like a second twist.
Yes,
like
there's a couple of twists in that game.
It'll be interesting to see if that's what happens. I don't know. I think it could be fine. I'll be interested to see. They got the guy that did Lights Out and the Shazam movies.
Oh,
so
Sandberg?
Is going to direct, and then apparently the guy who worked on Annabelle is going to be working on it too. And the script originally written by the guy that did The Invitation, which I like that movie quite a bit. So,
well, the thing is, like, I think it'll still be fine because the story is actually a solid enough horror story, and you can condense it as long as you take out because there's a lot of stuff that happens that you could easily just take out.
Absolutely,
because there's a lot of just chases and just you being like, I'm going to look for the thing.
There was a lot of like making sure you know who these characters are in the beginning.
A lot of build up. But it makes sense for a game.
Yeah.
Whereas for this type of movie, you could get away with just kind of plowing through that, and you can cut down some of the characters too. To be honest, you could probably still get away with it.
Yeah, just make them very surface level, and then kill them off halfway through.
Yeah.
There you go. So I don't know. I think this is a good one, and
I wonder if they'll keep any of the like certain twists about it though.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they're going to get any of the people that were in it.
That's actually something that is interesting about it, is that there are two very big name actors in that.
Yeah.
And one of them is big name now.
Yep.
Because back then, Rami Malek was just some dude.
He was Mr. Robot.
Yeah. And at that point, I think he just started being Mr. Robot, too.
Yeah. It was before that blew up. And poor Hayden Panettiere or whatever, like... Her career's gone kind of nowhere, but
it's funny because this is the funny thing is because I didn't find out about this until recently, is that the actor who plays Josh, who's Rami Malek's friend, that dude just disappeared off the face of the earth. Like no one knows what that guy's up to. Like they can't find out any other work he's done. Yeah. All of his like social media has just stopped.
Good.
And people are like, is he alive or dead? No one knows what the fuck's that guy's up to.
He's a mountain man.
It's really funny.
He's out there pulling a Logan. Well, let's see. Speaking of movies, we got a trailer for season 2 of Halo.
I wish I was excited about this.
Yeah?
But I'm really not.
It looks more exciting than the last one.
Well, because they're adapting part of the Fall of Reach.
Yep.
Because that's what the second season's about, is that like the Covenant found Reach and they're like going to attack the shit out of it, which is, an exciting part of the story. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that all the actors are so gung-ho about not having their helmets on.
Oh.
Because because Pablo Schreiber came out with a quote where he's just like, well, I can't really show emotion when I'm wearing the outfit kind of thing. And then everyone's like, there are so many examples of people being able to do that exact thing. And you're just using a lazy excuse for, hey, I want my face to be out there.
This is like phase 1 of Marvel where they just any excuse to just rip your mask off.
Everybody would just take their mask off every time. And it just becomes obvious. Like, it becomes more and more obvious whenever somebody talks about, like somebody in the cast or the crew talks about the show, that they don't actually give a shit about the Halo fans. They give a it's the general audience thing where they were trying to get the general audience to be into it more than the people who actually wanted to watch the show to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch season 1. I didn't even watch a single episode, to be honest. But I don't know. This trailer is pretty action-packed. So
that's the thing is I liked season 1 fine because personally, because I'm one of those guys who's fine with certain things. Like, I understand that adaptations are never going to be one-to-one.
Yeah. So
I'm willing to get past certain things, but what annoys me more is what happens when behind-the-scenes stuff clearly doesn't care about something. It was like, it was... Because I always mentioned it when DMC came out. Because I remember you not remembering all this stuff that had happened with DMC. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff of them just being like, the original Devil May Cry was stupid. He wasn't cool at all. And then it was just like, what do you think are you guys talking about?
See, but here's the thing. I don't know. I get into these conversations from time to time about other like movies and stuff where people will watch interviews. You know, watch an interview with Brie Larson. I don't like Brie Larson. I don't give a shit. Like, all I care about is whether this is fun. That's why I like DMC. I don't give a shit
if
they poop all over everything.
Have that part of it where I did.
I don't give a shit if Miyazaki comes out tomorrow and says people that like Elden Ring are stupid and they got tiny dicks, and specifically the ones named Jeff stink real bad, and no woman should ever touch their dick ever, ever. I'd be like, that's cool. When's the DLC coming out? Like, can you tell me when it's out? Like, can I pay double for it now?
That would be really funny. That would be so funny.
I don't like because the problem. This just goes to me and social media. Like, I never look up any behind the scenes stuff. I don't care whether the actors that I watch like me. I don't care whether they dislike me. All I care about is whether they fucking entertain me. You're a cheeseburger. I don't care about what you think or feel or do. I care about how you fucking taste. That's a weird thing to say.
That's a super weird thing to say.
Sorry.
But no, the main issue with the first season is it's the main issue that a lot of first seasons of adaptations are. Because it's clear they didn't give them a lot of money to begin with.
Sure.
And so they just sort of like they pull back on some of the stuff that people are more excited about, which is action stuff.
Yep.
So I think the good thing about this trailer is that it looks like they gave them more of a budget now that things seem to be working out.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that season 2 has more of the action stuff that people were hoping for.
Yeah.
Because there's no actual Halo really happening, if that makes sense. Like, because
there's no Halo ring.
Yeah, because there's no like real like it's not even really part of the game story per se, if that makes sense. It's like when it's like the way Castlevania starts, that way that show started, where it's like clearly this is just like build up to what the actual thing is.
Yeah,
and that's what the Halo season 1 really feels like, except it has a bunch of like OC stuff in it. But again, that's just I'm fine with that because I'm not religious about that story.
The Witcher. Remember that stuff about how like everybody on The Witcher thinks you guys are nerds and they hate it. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I stopped watching it because I was bored. Like I don't care. Like I don't care how the people who make the things feel about me, and I don't think they should have to like me. All I care about is whether the product is any good. But what it sounds like you're saying is that not only that, but then the first season wasn't very good. Was medium,
very slow.
Was like 60 out of 100 or something. Like
although I always laugh at the way people reacted to the fact that like not just the mask thing, but the fact that like there's a sequence where he's naked.
Yeah,
and everyone's just like, I've seen more of Master Chief than I've ever wanted to see. So
okay, well, I tell you what, I've got a very cinematic trailer for you. I've got a very, very cinematic trailer, and I wish I could hold on. Let me put my head here.
Let me look away.
I'm gonna full screen it. Okay. Oh wait. Oh no, wait. Oh sorry, no. This is Mario and Donkey Kong Rise of the Minis. Sorry, this is the next one. I forgot the order they're doing stuff in. They put out the intro movie for Mario Donkey Kong.
Oh, okay.
Minis.
They made a whole cutscene for it.
Yeah,
now.
Where Donkey Kong, he's like watching the TV and he's like, I want that Mario, and then he goes to the store and they're all sold out of Marios, and so he goes to the factory. they're making the Marios, and he busts in where all the Toads are making them, and he's like, bah, and he starts stuffing the little Mario minis in a bag.
I love that the plot of Mario vs. Donkey Kong 1 is that he's just being a Karen. He's like, look, I just really want this fucking toy.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you guys. It's just like, what the fuck?
He's just filling up a bag with those collectibles, and then Mario's walking by, and all the Toads are running away, and he sees Donkey Kong run out with a sack, and he's like, that guy's up to no good. I gotta go get him.
I think he also kidnaps Pauline in the original version of it, too.
Yeah.
At the same time. Because she's there for, like... Actually, I don't remember if that's the second one or not, but I think there's a version of it where she's there for, like, a grand opening, and he's like, well, I'm taking you, too. Fuck you.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, this is pretty fun.
Because that's where her redesign came from, was from these games.
Donkey Kong always... His design freaks me out. The way that he's got, like, this, like... loop of flesh with darkness the two ping pong eyes are shoved into. It's like it's weird.
Yeah, because that's his modern design. Because back in the day, he just looked like a normal kind of gorilla thing.
Yeah,
where now he's got like a bandit mask almost in his eyes.
It's so weird.
There's something weird about it.
Like eyeliner.
Yeah, kind of. It doesn't really make sense when you think about it.
Yeah,
so it's just really strange.
It's like he's wearing a gorilla mask over.
Because he blinks and you can see his eyelids.
Yeah.
But the black is still there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make I don't know. It was always very strange about it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'm going to close my eyes.
Close your eyes for a second.
Okay, close them and tell me when they're open.
I got a cinematic trailer for you. Hold on. I got to wait for the YouTube thing to go. Okay, here we go. Okay,
tell me when.
Okay, you can look. You can look. So we've got ourselves a super cinematic trailer, and I want to see if you could figure out what this super cinematic animated trailer, what game this is for.
What this is supposed to be for?
What this is for, yes. So we got a bunch of spacemen, and we got a bunch of alien planets. There's a lot of like dialogue going on here. So we got a bunch of super animated, like Voltron looking guys, like flying around, journeying through space, doing stuff. Any ideas here, Michael? You can see what the game is here.
No, I have no idea.
This is a new Lunar Lander game.
Really?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like the Atari Lunar Lander.
What the fuck?
Thing, but it's like Lunar
I never would have guessed
Lander
that.
Beyond, and it's like all these characters and like these different lunar landers. They're flying around, but when you look at the gameplay, it's like, oh shit, that is Lunar Lander.
Yeah, no. Once you said it, no, it makes sense to me. But because I was starting to think, I'm like, that looks familiar, but I don't know what it is.
This is so weird. It's so weird. Lunar Lander Beyond coming soon from Atari.
Atari does that every now and then where they try to release one of their old things but like fancier.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very strange when they do that.
It's very weird. Like, just you guys got to go watch this trailer because it's so produced.
Yeah.
Like
it looks like it would be a Netflix show almost on some of it.
But then it's like the game that you're doing this for is like one of the most basic video games that's ever existed. Like,
yeah, it'll cut to the gameplay and you're like, oh wait, this is this game? Okay.
Yeah. But then like the Lunar Lander flying out of a volcano that's erupting and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's like parts of the dialogue in here where they're like, oh yeah, these people need to be rescued before the space station explodes. And you're like, what? So
never would have guessed that in a million years.
Very bizarre.
That's amazing.
Very bizarre.
Good for them, I guess.
Let's see. We got a full launch trailer for Helldivers 2. You guys should go watch. If you have been listening to me talk about Helldivers for a little while and you don't really understand why I'm so psyched for Helldivers 2, you should go watch it because this one finally does more of the cheesy, like, come fight for democracy plus in Super Earth. Like, it gets
the Starship Troopers idea better than I think the Starship Troopers thing did.
Yes.
For the game, at least.
Well, and then this one is a lot less, like, it's a lot more realistic looking. So you have to see something that shows the goofiness.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it just kind of looks like a generic third-person action game that's kind of goofy.
Well, that first trailer, it really had it, and then everything else after it didn't.
Yeah. It's just been very, like, showing action, and the action looks really good.
Yeah.
But this one is a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, which I appreciate. And this is coming out, like, early February.
Okay. I hope it does well, to be honest. Like the first Helldivers took everybody by storm.
Yep.
And the second one is way different, but I still hope it works out for them.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it could be fun. Like, it definitely looks like something that could be fun to play with friends.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hoping to get a squad together because it's coming out February 8th. I don't know. Do we know if this is going to be on? This isn't going to be on PS Plus, right?
I have no idea. If it could be eventually, I don't know.
I think
if it isn't.
Foamstars is.
Foamstars will definitely be one, but I don't know about Helldivers too.
Yeah, it looks fun. Looks good. Can't wait. Michael, your favorite game? Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League.
I really wished I liked this idea.
Had a gameplay launch trailer.
People seem to be liking it though. The ones who played the alpha, or the beta, or whatever the fuck. So I'll let them play it and see how it goes. But I really don't care.
I saw somebody report online that it was like the gameplay is mediocre, but the story and the cutscenes are all really, really good. How would you feel about playing the game if it was like, you know, kind of medium? Like what if the gameplay is on par with like the single player storyline of Justice League, right? But then the cutscenes were really good.
Single player of what?
Of Avengers.
Oh,
Avengers single player, not just League.
Well, I really like the gameplay of Avengers. That's the thing.
Yeah,
like that gameplay works really, really well. So, like, and that's the reason I played that game. But if it's a mediocre game, I could maybe do it. But that's only if I can just get through it really quick.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be easier to watch on YouTube, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I still say I'm setting myself up for a letdown, but that's okay because I'm a 45-year-old adult and I could be let down by a video game.
Well, I have just low expectations of this game now because I had higher expectations at the time.
Yeah,
but literally, the more I find out about the game, the more I'm like, I really don't want to play this game.
What I'm hoping for is something that's on the level of like Mercenaries 2.
I could see that. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Like something that it's like, is it my favorite food? No, apparently I'm really hungry. Like, is it my favorite thing? No, but like, can I just sit here and fuck around with this for a while? Oh, absolutely. Like, I put on a fucking YouTube video and just start going to exclamation points and doing stuff.
There's some story stuff that's come out so far that I just think is weird timeline wise.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say them because it's, they're small spoilers.
Well, is it the thing that they fucking talked about on the podcast?
Like, about which part?
This expansion with the Joker castle?
It's a timeline of when the Justice League forms.
Oh, okay.
And so, but if I say when, it just sounds kind of like it's a strange time frame. But I'm not going to say why.
Yeah. So apparently one of the developers like released this screenshot for potential like DLC, like post-launch DLC that has Harley Quinn standing in front of like the Daily Chuckle, which is like the Daily Bugle, but it's a giant Joker tower.
Yeah. Because it's apparently like it's a teaser for their seasons or something.
Yeah. Which like the question here is like, wait a minute, I thought this was in the fucking Arkham universe. Spoiler alert for fucking Arkham Knight. Joker's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's a one thing that I've heard about it because there was a leak. There was a small set of leaks of character designs, and one of them you can actually see it on that image that you have there. Mm-hmm. There's like you see that thing on the right side, right next to the nutcracker looking thing.
Here, this?
No, the it looks like a newspaper.
Oh, this?
Yeah, you see that there's an image of some guy that's supposed to be maybe a Joker, like, so the idea is like maybe it's like a Joker imposter thing.
Oh, okay.
And like he wants to be the new Joker or something. Like that's because there's an image of a guy who like everybody keeps bringing up that's like this weird looking Joker thing that looks almost like a boy bandy type character. So people are like, is this supposed to be the Joker? I don't understand. So
yeah,
people think it's just maybe like a Joker imposter character.
Oh,
that's what maybe the story of his season is.
Maybe so,
because that was one of the things that was like, there was like a set of leaks of like who could be DLC characters, and one of them was like Joker. It was like, but yeah, like you said, Joker's dead, and then that came out. And they're like, oh, well, that's probably what it's about.
I would really appreciate it if there was a day, if there was a time and a place in the world where we could be dealing with like the DC universe, even tangentially related to Batman, where it's just like no Joker, no fucking Joker. Like, I know he's a very popular character, but it's like Wolverine. I'm kind of Jokered out.
Well, the funny thing is, I remember when I remember being mad at Arkham Origins originally, because all of the advertisements was like the Black Mask,
right?
And then the thing happens in the game, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, guys,
right?
I'm Jokered out, and that was years ago, and I'm definitely Jokered out now.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a really brief overview trailer for Unicorn Overlord, that Vanillaware game that's coming out. This one is just kind of talking about exploration and kind of moving between places. Apparently, they're going to start putting out like tons of these little 3-minute explainers about like what the fuck is this game, what does it do, and this one's more about just talking about taking territory and like taking on quests and like rebuilding the kind of ruined cities of the world and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. I don't know, I recommend taking a look. I'm very excited for this game because I like Vanillaware, but I keep forgetting that I like Vanillaware's graphics and I don't tend to like their games as much. Like I like Dragon's Crown, but like I taken a run at Odin Sphere a bunch of times. I keep bouncing off of it, and like 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim was like right up my alley, but I just couldn't stick with it.
You've tried quite a few times.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe this will be the one. Maybe this will be the one that actually keeps my attention. I know nobody oh wait, no, we're not yet. We're not there yet.
I was about to go, what?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had a 1-minute teaser. A lot of it's mostly talking about Sephiroth, but we saw Zack, we saw some Hojo, saw Sephiroth being all Sephirothy, something
like that.
Yeah, he's frothing it up, put a little leaf on it. It's funny. I watched this trailer and I was like, damn, Michael, I wish I fucking could play. I wish I cared. I wish I liked this game franchise because
I'm actually excited, but more because I really like the story of Final Fantasy VII, and there was stuff that I did recognize in that trailer that it makes me interested.
Yeah,
mostly because I hope they keep some of the goofier things that happen in some of those parts.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm not sure because that's the weird thing about the story is they changed enough of it to make it different.
Yeah,
enough to want to play it. But at the same time, it worries me that some stuff won't stay that was fun about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like Joker. I'm a little Final Fantasy VII out.
No, I get it. That's the thing.
And I wish they had a better. Like, I know that this is not maybe the thing to get hung up on. I just wish they had a more engaging battle system. I fucking hate the battle system in that game so much. Like, I fucking hate it. Like, it feels bad to me to play. And like all the rest of it, the story, the sweeping drama, oh, my childhood, oh, the music and
actually,
the characters.
Jeff, this is a great answer for what you asked me earlier, where like if it's a mediocre thing,
right,
gameplay, would you still do it if you like the story?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened on the last game.
Yep. But not see, that's the thing for me is that not this gameplay. Like, I would actually play a mediocre Suicide Squad shooting stuff game, but like I will not play a mediocre RPG because I'll just get fucking bored. Like, even a mediocre third-person action game has some level of excitement to me, whereas this fucking auto battle tactics light nonsense just doesn't fucking appeal to me enough to actually play the game. So anyway, I don't know. We'll find out at the end of February. You guys gonna get mad at me at the end of February when I put this on my YouTube channel and then I don't like it and then everybody can get mad at me.
Sure.
Okay. Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash character trailer number 5.
Is this the thing that you were going to say originally?
Yes. I know everybody's tired of hearing about these, but I keep watching them because I fucking love this franchise. And they put Yuta, who's like the main character from Zero, from the movie.
Oh, okay.
He shows up very briefly at a point in the anime that I won't say because of spoilers. And then the other character is Geto, who is like the guy that he's kind of a... He was an ex-student who turns evil. This is not a spoiler. He's basically been an antagonist like kind of the entire franchise. But there are some interesting things about what character model they're using for him, which I find really interesting. But I'm not going to say because they're kind of spoilers. There's something different happening with him in the anime, specifically with his forehead, that is not happening here that I think is really strange. Also, these trailers all come out in English, and I fucking hate his voice actor so much.
Okay.
He sounds like a petulant child whining about like how the world isn't the way that he wants it to be. I watch this shit subbed, and I fucking hate hearing these dubbed assholes. Like, it's fine. I don't care.
Well, the game will have the option.
Yes.
That's the idea.
Yes. I don't know, man. I want to play this game. A lot of stuff coming out right at the beginning of February.
I think that's so strange that keeps happening.
Because that's 2-2. Foamstars was like the first week.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of stuff happening at the very beginning of February. So, yeah. Sandland has a full-on release date as well as a full-on trailer. This trailer goes into a lot more story detail than a lot of the previous ones, like going into the backstory of kind of what's going on here. I'm a little torn because they show in this trailer, they show that there are areas that are not just these kind of sand reaches.
Yeah.
Like there's places that have a little bit more color to them. I went back and I watched the Dragon Ball, the new Dragon Ball game trailer to check and see if it's the same thing. I'm not the biggest fan of this like hard black line cell shading on the characters, but then very no lines on the environment. Like,
okay.
The environment is just very just like it's a 3D thing because to me it disconnects the two of them. And I went to go watch that Dragon Ball trailer because I was like, did the Dragon Ball thing do the same thing? And yes, it did. Like, I don't know if they're maybe just trying to evoke like when you're watching an anime and it has a very like painted background with hardline characters.
Well, it's a manga thing.
Yeah,
it's a lot of they're trying to invoke the manga color like art kind of look of the characters.
Yeah,
but like you said, the problem is that if you don't also do that to the rest of the world, it ends up disconnecting the two.
Yeah, so because the characters look great, like they look absolutely great, but then they seem semi-disconnected from the backgrounds.
Yeah, Blue Dragon doesn't have that issue because it doesn't do that to those characters. Everything like still has the same type of look.
Right. They're just 3D characters. They don't have that hard black outline on them.
Yeah, exactly. Same with Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is because he's the same. It's the same Akira Toriyama stuff, and so it doesn't have that same issue.
So I don't know. I mean, like I don't know. Just still give it a shot. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but yep. Let's see. So we got a trailer for a game called Wake Runners. This is a very strange thing for one reason. Okay, so this is a very fast-paced MOBA with these very, very, very like very.
I would not have guessed that from the beginning part.
Yeah, very well-designed characters. And it's supposed to be like faster than your average MOBA, like a real fast MOBA.
Yeah,
but it's still played like in the whole top-down MOBA thing, even though those characters all have like a very I don't know, Honkai Star Rail look to them, like very. This is the next game from the developers of Dave the Diver.
Really?
Mint Rocket.
What the fuck?
But then the thing they did before was something more like this. So Dave the Diver was like an outlier.
Yeah. Which definitely explains why they're like, look, we're not an indie developer,
right?
Kind of thing, because this is definitely not like an indie looking game that much, especially with their designs. Holy shit.
But it does go to show that whoever's working at Mint Rocket, like they've got really good artists and animators. Because that's the one thing that they have in common. This has in common with David Diver is just like the character animations are wonderful.
They're very characters expressive. Are great looking.
Yeah. Just wish it wasn't a MOBA. I don't want to play a
MOBA. No, I never would have guessed it was a MOBA originally. Like, I thought it was going to be like a team shooter or something.
I play a team shooter, not a MOBA.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got a new trailer for Ultros, that weird Metroidvania with all the psychedelic colors. Still looks very weird.
Yeah. I have a hard time keeping up with what's going on.
Yeah.
Because of the colors.
I'm not sure. There is kind of a piece to this that they show like what looks like a mini game where you're like fertilizing plants.
Yeah,
there seems to be a lot of like plant stuff going on here. It plants like a butt. Anyway, it still looks kind of interesting. I'm very fascinated to find out more about this. Like it's the sort of thing could really go either way. Like could end up being something I really love, or I could end up kind of bouncing off of it. February 13th.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I hope it does well, only because like games need to have more variety.
Yes,
especially in art.
Yeah. Yep. I sent this one to you.
This is very exciting.
I know because I know that Michael would be interested in this. I'm pretty sure this started out as a mod, and then it's now like turning into a real thing. The Transylvania Adventure of Simon Quest.
Such a great name.
Yep. This, I believe, started as a guy who wanted to fix Simon's Quest to make it fun, and then it like just kept adding and adding and adding. I believe that's what happened here.
Guarantee it was based on the look of it.
Yeah, because there's so much of it that like looks like Simon's Quest.
Yeah.
But then they've added all this fucking like mechanics and new art and new like bosses and there's like a fishing mini game in here. You can pet the dog. Like there's new levels.
Yeah, I can swing on a lot of stuff. There's a lot in this game that like it looks just like Simon's Quest, but there's so much cool shit going on in it.
It reminds me a lot of remember when Bloodstained had those two
Oh yeah, the demake ones.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? I'm a big fan. I kind of like Simon's Quest. Like I didn't get swayed by the angry video game nerd. Also, that boss is just from Super Metroid.
Yeah.
There's one of the bosses in here. There's just straight up the plant boss that's in Super Metroid. I fought that boss so many times. But then, like,
I'm constantly surprised that he's getting away with it so far.
Well, like, that's what I'm curious about, because like that's a fucking the guy that chases you when you get the key in Mario 2.
Yeah. Straight up.
But like, you know, and like the animation and the jumping and stuff, like the skeleton animations, they look exactly like they came from.
Well, not only that,
Simon's Quest.
His literal character model is just Simon with a cap on.
Right. So
it's fucking crazy.
But see, in the description for this in the game trailers thing, it's like the Transylvania adventure of Simon Quest, an upcoming parody / homage side scroller. So I'm wondering if they can get away with it being like, well, it's an homage / parody.
I think they're trying to get the way Unmetal did.
Yeah.
Which was the Metal Gear parody one.
But see, the thing is that this is coming apparently to Switch, Steam, Epic Games Store, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, PS4. And it's like, well...
that means he's already talked to them and they're cool with it. So, yeah.
The only problem is that this is 2025.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's kind of amazing. But that means that he's really, really working on it, which I think is very exciting.
Yep.
And also it helps that Dracula is very, you know, in the main... Like the... What's the word I'm looking for? Not copyrighted. Public domain.
Oh,
so
right.
He can just get away with you still fighting Dracula.
Yes. We got an official gameplay trailer for Frostpunk 2. So we had a cinematic trailer, but now we have an actual gameplay trailer showing Frostpunk 2. In fact, I like the fact that in this trailer, they actually, when they first bring it up, they show the system that they're running it on, like the graphics card they're running it on. This looks like very much like Frostpunk, but like way better.
But gorgeous.
Yep.
Holy shit.
This one did cause me a little bit of a weird thing. Well, okay, first off, coming to Game Pass day one.
Oh.
Day one Game Pass, Frostpunk 2.
That's interesting.
The thing is that this trailer is very weird because it's a lot of people calling for the steward. They're saying, "Steward, we need more clothes. The steward, you have to help us. Steward, like we have to do this thing." This is so very specific. This is like 4 people are going to understand what I'm saying here. I just got finished watching Letterkenny, and in Letterkenny, there is a character named Stuart that is like the emo goth guy, and he's got his best friend is named Roald, and whenever Roald follows him around like the dog in fucking Looney Tunes, and whenever he says his name, he says Stuart. Like he like runs it all together.
Oh my god!
So when they were saying Steward, all I could hear was Roland going Steward.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
So this looks fantastic. It looks very clean and pretty and stuff. I'm not a sicko for this kind of misery porn game, but like I don't know. I maybe give it. If it's on Game Pass, I give it a shot. Yeah. Like.
It could go either way, as the thing about those types of games. And I remember us playing the first one, and that seemed like an interesting enough game.
Yeah. I'm just not as big of a fan of this, like, it's a desperate situation. Everybody's going to starve to death unless you make the right decisions. And I'm like, pass.
Well, that's always the choice, though, when it comes to games like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a fan of that papers, please type thing.
Yeah. It's supposed to be coming out first half of 2024. Who knows? Maybe it's February. Maybe it's February 14th.
Maybe.
Let's see. Prison Architect 2 got announced, and it's going 3D. Prison Architect is going 3D. So
yeah, I saw the trailer for this just randomly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Instead of the whole little like flat 2D guys, they're going full 3D. It's interesting. It makes me wonder, like, how much did they just kind of keep a lot of the same code from the first game, but then spend their time working on just like making it into a 3D game? I don't know.
Probably because there isn't that much. Like, it's not like they made every prisoner super detailed.
Right. They're little like Raymans kind of.
Yeah.
They don't have
Which
arms.
works for what's going on.
Yeah. I never really could get into that game. I was like, I don't want to run a prison.
It's the problem with like games that are like, run a thing you don't want to do. It's like, I don't really want to do that.
Speaking of new announces, with the number 2, Smite 2 was announced.
Okay.
Smite has been around and big for quite some time. This is the like third-person action MOBA where he plays the various gods. But this is like one of the first games that started putting weird shit in. Like they put Bob Ross in, and like
They did. The Ninja Turtles were at it at one point.
Korra, I think, at some point.
If I remember correctly, yeah. Out of nowhere too.
Yeah. This one is the big thing here is this is Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, okay. It does look pretty.
It's very pretty. They're not going to be shutting down the first one. They're going to be keeping them going parallel. But the
Good for
big
them.
question is, what about all the skins from Smite 1?
Oh.
Because they had a lot of skins, microtransactions, cosmetics, and stuff like that.
And those characters we just mentioned too.
Yep. They said they did the math, and if they tried to port everything that's in Smite 1 to Smite 2, it would take 264 man years to do. So they're going to try doing some of it, but like they're not like saying
They don't have a big enough team to make that work.
We promise we'll do everything, like type of thing. And also, why would they? Right? Like if Smite is free to play, they make their money on cosmetics. I wouldn't expect them.
They're not shutting down the other one.
Right.
It's not like the Overwatch thing.
Yeah. There's going to be an alpha spring of this year. So, Stalker got pushed back one more time. It's now
one more time
coming out in September.
Okay, just in time for the Switch 2, according to the Game Shark.
yes. What does Game Shark know that we don't? Apparently, they said that the story is all completely finished, but that the mechanics aren't up to the quality that they want them to have. So they want to go through and give it another pass, tuning, putting stuff together. I appreciate that. I very much appreciate that they want to make sure that when the game comes out that it's solid and that it doesn't have to go through the whole like roadmap bullshit.
Yeah, delayed for good reasons, basically.
Yep. Yeah. And then let's see. Switch Online is getting both of the Golden Sun GBA games.
Oh, nice.
On their the expansion. Was it Switch Online expansion pass?
Yeah, because the GBA is only on the expansion version.
So yeah, Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age are both on there.
I think it was one of the first games that had a bastard sword.
Oh, really?
That had the name, like where they didn't censor the name.
Oh, okay.
Because most of them would change the name. It was in the booklet too, and we all giggled about it because we were young and thought it was stupid.
I took a look at this and I was like, I wouldn't. This is a little too old, too primitive for old Jeff, but like
it's an old one. But it was like they said, it is kind of a cult classic kind of thing.
Yeah,
because it was because not even that many people I knew at the time played it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, those are both. I believe those are both out. I believe those came out yesterday from when we're recording this.
Oh, okay.
So they should already be out. And then let's finish up with a couple of quick things. Konami is putting out some more like packs of old games. So specifically, they've got two. One is going to be Felix the Cat, and then the other one is going to be a Rocket Knight collection. So
it's very weird, but Konami has a lot of stuff that people do really like that will sell.
Yes,
so I assume these are ones that people like.
Well, these are ones. It seems like they're just doing this to undercut the secondary market because these are ones that are very rare as well.
Okay.
Like Felix the Cat for the NES goes for like $300.
Yeah, whenever these happen, all of those games just drop like a rock.
Yeah,
because that's the issue with the speculative market, as it's called, is that every time it's introduced into something, it fucks up everything for everybody.
Yep. Yeah, so Felix the Cat is going to have Felix the Cat, and then the 1993 game, the NES and the Game Boy game, and then Rocket Knight is going to have Rocket Knight Adventures, and then Resparked. It's basically going to have the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, and then there was like a Genesis sequel, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to have those
That's
three.
Fun.
I'm all in favor of doing this shit, and it seems like they're doing this with Limited Run. Limited Run, they have that emulator that they built specifically to deal with like SNES, NES, Genesis stuff that's really good, like really good at making stuff.
What I love about Konami is that they're willing to release stuff that is licensed too, because they did that with the Cowabunga collection and the Felix the Cat as well.
Yeah,
because that's the problem with any old NES, SNES games is a lot of the ones that people want are licensed games that you can't just re-release on a whim. like the Marvel ones kind of thing.
Right.
Like it's just like as much as I would love for Maximum Carnage to be re-released, that is a minefield of so many different reasons.
Motherfucker, you have a goddamn PC right now. Okay, you can
also
Maximum
have
Carnage whenever you want.
I also have the game.
Yeah.
So, but you know what I mean, though. Like that idea, all of those types of games, like the Death and Return of Superman, that kind of thing.
Sure.
People would like to legally own, but they just can't re-release them on a whim, kind of thing.
Let's see. This actually came out a little bit earlier, but kind of came on my radar last week. So the guy that made Baba Is You likes to make weird itch.io games with Baba in them.
Yeah.
Like he made Baba Files Taxes. And the latest the latest one is called Mobile Suit Baba.
What the fuck?
It's Baba Is You meets Into the Breach.
Oh my god.
But it still has like the Baba Is You like mechanics to it in a lot of ways.
So
yeah, that I appreciate that. I like
Good
the
for
idea that whoever this is, that they got like they got a lot of money from Baba Is You, and they were just like, I was gonna fuck around for a decade, man. I don't even give a shit.
Good for them.
Because yeah, you can buy it for $4 on itch.io.
That's crazy.
Very primitive, but
I'm happy for them.
yeah, if you're into that, and it's also just straight up Into the Breach. Like it's the same island from Into the Breach.
My god.
Like so. Yeah. I can't tell how official this is, but somebody put VR support into Lethal Company.
Oh my god. That was so fast.
And it looks absolutely horrific. It looks terrible and terrifying. But it looks like it could also be kind of fun.
It would make sense that you'll be able to mod something like that easily because the game is not that big.
Right.
It's a 600 megabyte thing.
And it's not that complicated either.
No.
I think the biggest problem is typing.
Yes.
Because you have to
you have to do it manually, I assume.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks pretty terrifying. I want to get back into that old Lethal Company.
It was a lot of fun.
I don't know. I got like 18 games I need to play now.
That's true.
I mean, the problem, Michael, is that like I'm 2 hours away from finishing Sea of Stars, and then I'm like 10 hours away from finishing Prince of Persia, and then once I'm done with that, next Friday the new Yakuza game comes out, and like and then like we already talked about what's all coming at the beginning of February, but I think that also it's like, what is it? Next week is the Last of Us 2 remastered, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and then the week after that is Apollo Justice, and then Tekken 8, and then everything, and yeah, lots of stuff. Let's see. We're just about out of time. I want to talk about this one a lot. Do you ever watch this guy? This is
I've heard of him, but I've never seen it.
DIY Perks.
Yeah.
He's really cool. Like he makes a lot of like DIY stuff, but he does it in a way where he really goes out of his way to explain every part of doing the thing.
Yeah.
So like he'll explain like when he does a thing and then it fails and then it doesn't work anymore. His latest video came out last week, and he basically took a PS5 motherboard and then like shoved it into a large tablet sized case. He did a lot of work on cooling.
There's a lot of fans on that thing.
It's got 3 fans in the back of it, and he had to add like a shitload of heat pipes. Like the first time, like if you could see this, where there's like the PS5 motherboard has like one major heatsink, and he had to add like a shitload of heat pipes.
Jesus Christ.
And then like he had to get these really high powered fans in order to make sure that enough airflow was coming through. But when we got done, he said it was running at like 40 degrees Celsius, just like nonstop, no matter what he played on it.
Oh wow.
And then he basically put the whole thing into kind of a fat iPad case, and then threw an OLED screen from a laptop on it.
Oh.
And then it plugs into the wall, and it's got a little kickstand, but it is a fully functional PlayStation 5 that you could set up on a counter like a Switch, and it's a 4K OLED monitor.
That's amazing.
It's very bright. It's very like sharp. It's got built-in speakers with mini subwoofers in it, so like it does the audio and everything, and like you just fucking play PlayStation. And it's like he sized it so that it's just big enough that it fits in like the laptop pocket of like a backpack.
Yeah.
So you can just take it and then fucking set it up. And like, yeah, the video is great because he goes over every last what he did to make things work, and then at the end kind of shows like playing the game with friends and stuff. It's very cool. This guy's channel is real cool.
These are the types of things that YouTube was made for. Was the idea of like, hey, what weird shit can I pull off in a way that's like it's also makes it obvious why a company won't just do that kind of thing.
Yeah, he built a slim PS5.
Oh wow, holy shit.
And the reason it's that slim is because those pipes coming out of the back of it, one of those is power and two of them are water.
Oh my god.
Because he's got a water coolant going through there that then gets he built I think it's a combination AC adapter and pump so that it literally routes that heat back down out of it.
Fucking insane.
And then what he gets is a incredibly slim PS5.
Yeah. Again, it shows why you couldn't pull that off as a company product.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
The other one I really liked that he did, he built this PC that's the PC is inside of a canister that he can then put into a pond.
Oh my god.
It's got radiators on the outside and then you put it literally inside of the pond in his backyard for it to do water cooling, but then he's using all this modern FireWire USB stuff to route all the outputs back to a desk.
That's crazy.
But the actual PC itself is sealed inside of a container that routes coolant outside of the container into copper tubes that then offload the waste heat into the pond. The thing is literally sitting in. This one was nail biting because if the tolerances didn't work right, that thing was going to fucking fill with pond water.
It would just fail immediately
and die.
And that's a lot of work just wasted in a second if that happened.
Yeah. He built it was really interesting. He built a giant LCD panel that he made it he put 8 times brightness LEDs in it so that it could be run outside during the day, and it was so bright that you could see it.
It's fucking insane.
But then the thing is that he had to water cool it because the power of those LEDs running in the background were so hot that it literally had to have water cooling in the back of it. But it was so fucking bright that you could run it at noon on a sunny day and actually see the LED panel.
That's insane. That's so absolutely insane.
And so it was and so you had to literally tie it to different things, and it's got speakers and radiators and stuff like that on it. But the fact that you can even see this on a video during the daytime
is insane.
Indicates how fucking bright this thing is.
That thing is absolutely insane.
So yeah, DIY
what
Perks
the fuck?
Is awesome. Yeah, you waterproofed it and everything so that it could stay outside during the rain and stuff.
I both love and just am in awe of this man.
Yeah, he took a bunch of radiators, I think, out of
patience to do that sort of thing.
Yeah. And the great thing about watching his channel is that it's I don't know, it's like watching a cooking channel because he's so ebullient and fun that it makes you want to do this shit, and you're but I don't think I can do this shit.
If I even attempt it, I would hurt myself, and I know it.
So I don't know. I'm not afraid of taking shit apart, but I'm not as versed in manufacturing things to be able to put it back together.
That's
again.
what I mean.
So,
I can take things apart, but once I put it back together, the odds are it might explode.
Yeah. In other cool internet videos, Zuli the Witch had a very cool video. I'm going to tease it a little bit. So here's the thing. In Elden Ring, there is a dog. Later on in the game, there's one dog that's next to this guy, a misbegotten.
Yeah.
And unlike every other dog, the dog will not attack you unless you attack it first. It just lays on the ground and it won't attack you unless you attack it first. And it turns out there's a very, very strange technical reason why this happens. In fact, Zuli even shows how you can make the dog attack you on first sight. There is a way.
Oh.
It's very strange, and it gets into it's interesting. I highly recommend everybody go watch it because it talks a lot about it indicates how you can look at a bug and then figure out how the programming behind that must have gone in order to make that a thing.
Yeah.
So, and last but certainly not least, Awesome Games Done Quick in 2024 happened, and we had the first speed run done by a dog. It was pretty cool. I watched a little bit of this. This is Peanut Butter, and basically they're playing Gyromite, except that instead of the gyromite controller, the dog has a big pad with 2 buttons on it to raise and lower because gyromite, the guy just walks in one direction and you just raise and lower stuff. You're supposed to do with Rob the Video Robot, but this is this
so
dog,
the dog
like
would do the pads
pressing
itself.
the buttons on it.
That's fun.
It's pretty fun. There's a couple times where the dog gets there's a peanut butter the gets like slightly distracted for a minute, and just like,
as the dog would do.
Come on.
The dog's just like, I just want to hang out, dude. What are we doing?
But this makes the first speed run done by a dog, and I think that's worth calling out.
Good for peanut butter.
So, yep. Hey, we're done. That's it. Yeah. That's a podcast. I think it went a little long. I gotta get
as
even
it
better
always
at
does.
this.
As it always does.
I know the whole point of splitting it into 3 parts was so it wouldn't be as long.
Well, here's the thing. It's me.
Yeah.
And whenever me and you are in a room together, we talk for way too long.
Dude, last week we recorded these videos remoto, and I swear to God, we just sat there for like 90 minutes before we started, just fucking catching up.
Both times. Literally somehow both times.
Yep. Michael, anything you want to shout out this week?
I don't know, actually. I haven't done anything.
I think you've been on One of Us in quite a while.
I haven't been on One of Us in a bit.
You go check out One of Us, but
check One of Us. They have reviews that have popped up. And you can always just find any of my old reviews on there in general.
Yeah.
But they're constantly doing reviews, so go check them out.
Yep. And I don't know if you got all the way to you want to do, maybe go to patreon.com/RageSelect. You know what it is. You know what it is. Do the right thing. You know you want to. Come on. All right, I'm ready. I'm done.